Dr. Larry McLemore. As a proud alumnus and a parent of 2 Trojan students, I can personally attest to the benefits of a St. James education. At St. James School, our purpose is to build up every child from the inside out, to encourage each heart, to build character, and to elevate potential. Every day, we work hard to live out our purpose in the classroom, on the stage, and on the field. Thank you to the following businesses who have partnered with us to support and build up our students this year: Adams Drugs, Alabama 811, Baptist Ortho Now, Breck Honey State Farm, Brindle Sprinkler Company, Bush Law Firm, CB&S Bank, Dentistry for Children, Doug's 2 Salon, Gunthorpe Financial, Dr. Derek Wessner and Dr. Lee Murphy from Houston Clinic, Just for Grins Orthodontics, Judge J.C. Love, Merrill Lynch Webb Chastain, Merrill Lynch Jake Ray, Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, Montgomery Dentistry, Montgomery Paint and Body, Moore Company Realty, On Point Habitat Management, Pinion Law Firm, Regions, River Bank and Trust, Southern Specialty Physicians, Attorney Katie Steenwinder, Tanner Landscaping, and Zaxby's. Go Trojans!
Have you ever heard the term front end loaded? It might have come up when you were looking at your mortgage or if you were getting ready to invest in a project. You know, it really means a situation where the fees or the cost or the challenges are disproportionately concentrated at the beginning of a project, or in this case, if you've been following us, at the beginning of a journey. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. It's Friday night in Alabama, and this is St. James Trojan Football. We join you tonight from Roanoke, Alabama, over in Randolph County, where the 2025 season, which has been front-end loaded against these St. James Trojans, well, it won't get any easier. The Trojans are here to play one of the blue bloods of high school football. Handley High School winning 2 state championships in the last 10 years, and they have put together a very impressive beginning to this season. For St. James, if you've been with us, you know it's been a challenge so far, and the challenge will continue tonight. But Coach Larry Ware and the team has made this 2.5-hour trip to East Alabama with their eye on getting things turned around. It'll be St. James versus Handley in another region game. We're glad you're with us here on Friday night on WRBZ. Sonny Brassfield and Brad Armagast, again, not here, but the voice of J.R. Brown will bring you all the details. You stay with us. We'll be right back. This is St. James Football on WRBZ.
Go, go, go. That's life. And at CB&S Bank, we help you keep up. We're redesigning financial freedom with the most sophisticated digital products. Check balances, pay bills, transfer funds, manage your card, and even deposit checks from wherever you are. Make purchases using your CB&S Bank debit card through your mobile device with Mobile Wallet in participating stores and restaurants. Learn more at cbsbank.com. Charges and fees may apply from your cellular service provider. Contact your service provider for information. Member FDIC.
From all the employees at Adams Drugs, we want to say thank you to those who already trust us with your health care and prescription needs. If you are looking for a pharmacy, we would like to invite you to visit our website, adamsdrugs.net, and find a location nearest to you. We have 12 locations in the River region with services such as wellness screenings, blood pressure checks, and compounding, just to name a few. Please come in and experience the Adams Drugs difference. We look forward to serving you and your family.
All aboard for Healthy Smiles. At Dentistry for Children, they love to make kids smile. Dr. Schreiber and Dr. Thomas specialize in pediatric dentistry, treating infants, children, and patients with special needs. You can trust Dentistry for Children to provide the highest quality care for children of all ages. Beautiful smiles begin at Dentistry for Children. Call today to make your appointment with their professional caring staff. Dentistry for Children in Montgomery and Wetumpka, proudly making kids smile for over 40 years.
Nothing gets your attention like the pain you get when it hurts to walk. When you have that pain, reach out to Southern Specialty Physicians. Dr. Brian Sellers is a board-certified vascular surgeon with over 15 years of experience. And Dr. Brandon McCullum is an experienced podiatrist. Southern Specialty Physicians are working to keep Alabama walking. Located across from the AUM Water Tower on Sydney Curve and online at ssp.care.
Well, we're back here in Roanoke. It's St. James versus the Handley Tigers tonight in the second region game of the 2025 season. The Trojans dropping last Friday night's game against Bullock County, and Handley winning last Friday night against Cleveland County. So the Trojans come into tonight's region game 0-1, and Handley 1-0. And certainly the St. James Trojans expect to see a full house here tonight as people begin to file in here in Roanoke. And this community supports its high school football team and really has to take a back seat to no one else in the state of Alabama in terms of community support. You've heard it before that you can roll the sidewalks up on a Friday night in Alabama, especially in rural Alabama. And certainly 2 or 3 decades ago, that was a common practice around this state. But with so much else to do and the internet and, kids not looking to play football for one reason or another, there are some places where support for the local high school has been crowded out of a normal Friday night schedule by so many other interests, but not here in Roanoke. It really, really is like stepping back in the days a couple of decades ago where high school football pulled a community together and held a community together. And we will see that here tonight, this high school football stadium, and it is a fine facility, artificial turf, huge stands over on the home side of the field for Class A, 4A football. But this place will be jam-packed. They have an enormously large high school marching band. And what that means is that you've got stands with parents and grandparents, not only with football players and cheerleaders, but band kids as well. This is a high school football team here at Handley that's in a bit of a transition. A new head coach, Chris White, has taken over for longtime coach Larry Strain, and we'll talk to you about that in a few minutes as we continue to get ready. But this is a football team that plays up to open the season every year. They play Clay Central. It's kind of a traditional opening game, and if you know anything about high school football in Alabama, you know what Clay Central and Clay County is and what they are about, a perennial 5A power. And they dropped that opening game 26-3. But since then, in the last 2 weeks, have been completely dominant, dropping Dadeville 49-20 and dropping Cleveland County last week to open region play 36-10, a game they led 22-0, and really eventually took their foot off the gas pedal. This is a football team, as we said, in a bit of a transition, but you cannot tell it from watching this football team play. Chris White has taken over, as we mentioned, and Coach White was the defensive coordinator here for Larry Strain, but nothing has changed on either side of the ball. In watching tape so far this week and getting ready for tonight's broadcast, and then going back and looking at last year's game between St. James and Handley, the offensive formations are the same. The philosophy is the same. The way they try to attack is exactly the same, even though there's a new head coach. As we mentioned, Larry Strain retiring after 26 years of high school coaching in East Alabama, 11 years at Handley, and during that time he won 2 state championships, 4 region titles, and really set the standard in Class 4A, especially in East Alabama. Handley has been, kind of the class of 4A in that part of the state, and how everyone has measured themselves in the last decade. It's interesting. Chris White had very little success at his other tenure as a high school football coach. He took over at White Plains, which is in Calhoun County, and in 3 seasons went 4-36. He replaced his friend Larry Strain, who was head coach at White Plains for only a year and won only 2 games himself. So a very difficult place to win, but he stayed there 3 years. Coach Strain was back at Handley, and then Chris White left and came there. And so, he's been in this community a long, long time, very little transition. And again, what we'll see tonight is a Handley football team that'll base out of the I formation. About half the time, the quarterback will have his hands under center. That's unusual in today's high school football world. Almost everybody, including St. James, out of the shotgun. But this is much more basic football. I formation, sometimes the power I. They'll bring in an extra lineman or two and get in an unbalanced line. Nothing fancy. Now, they will throw the football, and we certainly expect them to do some of that tonight. But this is a running football team. That's their bread and butter. Last Friday night against Cleveland County, 4 different runners for Handley scored touchdowns. They also intercepted a pass in the end zone and returned that 100 yards for a touchdown, which really gives St. James followers a bit of a migraine, remembering what happened in the 2022 St. James Handley game. And we'll talk about that a little later in our pregame. But amazingly, the week before against Dadeville, winning 49-20, 7 different Handley players scored a touchdown. And I don't know that I've ever heard that in a high school football game. Handley scored 7 touchdowns by 7 different players. So this is a football team full of athletes, big up front. Defensively, they attack, they come downhill, they'll base out of an odd front, but those inside linebackers will come after St. James, running in the A gap on almost every play. If St. James and Handley have played, this will be the 4th straight season. And if you follow St. James football, you know that these games have been hard fought. In fact, this will be the 8th meeting between the schools, and Handley does lead the series, 4 wins, and St. James has won 3 of those games. They've all been hard fought, but the last couple of games, really the blitzing by Handley has been very, very difficult for St. James to handle. And with all of the Trojans' challenges up front, we certainly know that will be a difficulty for this Trojan team. Again, coming into tonight's game at 0-3 on the season last Friday night, very disappointing in how things went against Bullitt County before that. A hard-fought game, a hard-fought loss to Montgomery Catholic, and a 14-7 loss to a Montgomery Academy team that will, in my opinion, finish the season ranked in the top 3 or 4 in Class 3A in the state. We mentioned that last year the Trojans won this game against Handley 21-18, and it was very instrumental in the Trojans finishing second in region play, just ahead of Handley. It was a game that St. James, again, won 21-7. The Trojans led 7-6 at halftime back at Carlisle Field last year. Grant Phillips returned an interception for a touchdown early in the third quarter. Handley scored just before the third quarter turned to the fourth quarter to make it 14-12. And the St. James quarterback ran for a touchdown to make it 21-12, and then Handley scored in the last minute of the game to make it 21-18, and then the Trojans covered the Handley onside kick. Tonight, as we mentioned at the start, this is a front-end loaded schedule. After tonight, the Trojans will face some teams that are much closer to St. James in terms of numbers. This Handley football team tonight will dress between 60 and 70 players. The Trojans, down a couple of guys tonight, will dress 32 or so. So it is going to be, again, a big challenge for a St. James football team, hoping to turn their region record around and hoping to get this season back on track. Head coach Larry Ware and the staff has put in extra time this week in trying to prepare, quite honestly, for what I think is the best football team that St. James has played up until now. And if that makes you say, oh, no, I get it. But this St. James football team has been resilient. They've played very, very, very hard. Could have easily won the Montgomery Academy game, played much better in the second half last week on the road against Bullitt County, and here tonight on the road against Handley. It will take everything St. James has to take care of the Handley Tigers. So it's St. James versus Handley as we march toward kickoff here in Roanoke. You stay with us. We'll be right back with more comments and a closer look at the St. James football team. We'll be right back. This is St. James football on WRBZ.
When you speak with patients at Just for Grins Orthodontics, you hear things like, "The staff is great. My daughter's teeth look perfect. I've been using them for over 2 years, and my service has been nothing short of amazing." Or, "My teeth have always made me a little self-conscious. Just for Grins fixed that, and not only do my teeth look great, they make me feel great." If you or your family need braces or Invisalign in a lively environment using the latest technologies with over 3 decades of experience, let's make the smile of your dreams a reality. Visit justforgrinsortho.com. A fire can spread through your home or business in less than 2 minutes. That's why it's important to think ahead and have the proper fire protection installed before it's needed. Brendel Sprinkler Company can inspect your current system and help make sure that you have the proper equipment when it's needed. Brendel works in new construction, existing homes, and renovations. They not only want to help extinguish fires, they want to save lives. Since 1960, with over 5,000 successful installations. Find them online at brendelsprinkler.com.
Confidence, experience, credibility. When your family is at stake, you need an attorney who's built a reputation on these 3 words. Katie Steenwinder. Whether it's divorce, custody, adoptions, or child support, Katie Steenwinder. Serving clients from Prattville and Wetumpka to Montgomery and Elba, Katie Steenwinder has developed her reputation with credibility, experience, and confidence. Call the law office of Katie Steenwinder in Montgomery, 262-2844. When your family is at stake, Katie Steenwinder. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
If you're looking for commercial real estate, Moore Company Realty is your go-to choice. The experienced team has a deep understanding of local markets and can help you find the perfect commercial property for sale or lease. They also offer comprehensive commercial property management services to ensure your investment is well taken care of. Their expertise and dedication to client satisfaction has allowed them to thrive for over 130 years. Find out more at moorecompanyrealty.com.
Well, we're back here in Roanoke, St. James versus the Handley Tigers tonight in round 2 or week 2 of the 2025 region football schedule. The Trojans 0-3 on the season, dropping the opener 32-6 to Catholic, and then 2 weeks ago, a 14-7 heartbreaker against Montgomery Academy. And then last Friday night in Bullitt County, the Trojans on the road for the first time this season. Well, not technically the first time. That Montgomery Catholic game was on the road, but a very, very short trip, just a little over a mile. But St. James traveled last Friday night down to Union Springs in Bullitt County, and really the game got away from the Trojans very, very early. The first 4 times Bullitt County had the football, they scored on rushing touchdowns. Sandwiched in between was a 3-yard run by Miles Zakowski for the Trojans. It was 14-6 or 12-6, at one point midway through the second quarter. St. James just unable to stop, a Bullitt County running game that had amassed almost 600 yards in the first 2 games. Had attempted only 7 passes all season before last Friday night, and they really just pushed St. James around. At halftime, the Trojans went to, what everyone in the business calls an Okie defense, covering up all 5 offensive linemen. It did a much, much better job. Got a Grant Phillips touchdown midway through the third quarter. And actually, the Trojans only trailed 24-14, had the ball deep in Bullitt County territory, turned it over. And then with just a smidge over a minute to go, Bullitt County threw a 38-yard touchdown pass on a 4th and 10 when the Trojans were selling out, trying to get the ball back in desperation mode. So it was a football game, with, again, some encouraging issues for St. James, but also a couple of injuries that will have the Trojans playing even more shorthanded tonight. St. James has had a difficult time on offense. Let's just be honest. Again, only scoring 4 touchdowns, 2 of those coming on runs by Grant Phillips of less than a yard, just sneaking the ball in, and then the 3-yard run by Zakowski. So, St. James has really had a hard time with explosive plays this season, only a couple of plays of more than 20 yards. And that just puts enormous pressure on your offense. If the only realistic way you have to score points is that you have to meticulously move the ball down the field, there is no margin for error. If you jump off sides, get illegal procedure, delay of game, any of those kinds of things that set you back 5 yards and get you off schedule, then it becomes extremely difficult. And last Friday night, that was a big problem for the Trojans. Several pre-snap penalties, that turned a 2nd and 4 into a 2nd and 9. And when you have difficulty throwing the football, Trojans completing less than 45% of their attempts this season, with only 1 touchdown through the air and 1 interception, averaging a smidge under 90 yards a game throwing the football. An enormous amount of pressure on St. James to be efficient, and pressure on St. James not to get themselves behind the sticks, really has made it difficult on the offensive side of the board. That if you've been with us, the Trojans playing without an experienced quarterback at all on the football team, and Mason Craig and Grant Phillips have played very, very hard and improved every game, and we expect to see additional improvement tonight as well. But again, the challenges that St. James faces on the offensive side of the football, not only the lack of a quarterback with any experience, but also an offensive line that's made up of 4 of the 5 linemen are playing virtually every play on defense. And, honestly, in the fourth quarter, in the first 3 games, playing much more on heart than anything else. And we expect to see that again tonight. This football team has played extremely hard in all 3 games for Coach Ware, and we expect to see that again tonight. But St. James faces a football team with an enormous amount of offensive firepower. Handley not fancy. In this day in high school football, the trendy thing to do is to get in 4 or 5 wide receivers, spread the football all over the place, run bubble screens and tunnel screens, put your receivers in trips in a little triangle on one side of the field or another, run crossing patterns trying to get the defensive backs to block each other out as they're trying to cover the receivers, all kinds of things like that. And we will see virtually none of that tonight. The St. James defense will be challenged up front by a big, experienced offensive line that will pull and run what's called counter GT. They'll run a counter pulling the backside guard and tackle. They'll run the old Southern California, toss it to the tailback, pull the onside tackle and guard, and run, just a straight sweep. They used to call it student body right and left at Southern Cal. We'll see that tonight. And then in short yardage situations, or if they are just trying to change things up, they'll get in an unbalanced line, bring in a couple of extra linemen, take out receivers, and just line up and say, guys, here we come. Nothing fancy. The quarterback's big and strong. Not the best passer St. James will see this year, I don't suspect. But he's not asked to throw the ball a lot, and we don't expect him to be asked to throw the ball a lot tonight either. This St. James defense is going to have to find a way to get off the field, and certainly a lot of that will come up front. And then the 2 inside linebackers, Miles Zukowski and Henry Wright, who continue to play very, very well for the Trojans. Again, this is just one of those seasons. St. James short on numbers, short on size, and all of that puts pressure on your schemes and what the coaching staff can do to dial up something new each week. We're, believe it or not, at game 4, which is just hard to believe. We wait so long for football season, and then you turn around and it's over almost before it starts, with this being game 4 next Friday night, when we'll join you from Carlisle Field. We'll be at the midway point of the season, But 3 games in, as we are now, tonight being game 4, you've put enough on tape that if you continue to do the same thing over and over, it's very, very difficult for you to succeed. You've got to be able to make changes on a week-to-week basis, both on offense and on defense. And that's a challenge for St. James as well, because you've got to practice your offensive team on offense, and then you've got to turn around and take those same young men and practice them for another hour on defense, and then somehow try to keep their legs fresh enough that on Friday night they've got enough bounce and speed to be able to really compete. And I've been around St. James football a long time, and this football team, I don't know how this season's going to turn out. St. James may finish this season 7-3 in the regular season, and they may win the Trojans' 5th region championship in 10 years. But if not, they're still going to go down as one of my favorite football teams, just because how hard they have played up until this point and how hard we expect them to play tonight. Grant Phillips, we expect to be at the helm much of the game tonight. He's got 135 yards on 32 carries. And he has been the workhorse on offense, scrambling, trying to find an opening to throw the football. And when he's not playing quarterback and Mason Craig is playing quarterback, then Grant's either playing in the running back position or he's out in the slot trying to be a receiver to get his hands on the ball that way. In fact, he caught a touchdown pass against Montgomery Academy from Mason Craig. As we mentioned, defensively, the Trojans are going to face a real challenge, this football team. For Handley is going to line it up and run it right at them, and until you can stop it, you're not going to see Handley stop running. Cleveland County saw that last Friday night. They forced a punt early in the first quarter, and honestly, only 2 passes thrown in the first half by Handley, and both of those were thrown because they were in third down conversion downs with long yardage situations because of penalties. As long as they stay on schedule, they're going to run the football tonight in this region game. Handley undefeated in region play, 2-1. They're lost to Clay Central on the opening night of the season. St. James trying to get their record back in region play to 1-1 with another region game right around the corner next Friday night against Talladega, a team that's going to present a better opportunity for St. James, quite honestly, as they return home next Friday night to Carlisle Field. Again, as we mentioned, Sonny Brassfield and Brad Armagost not with you physically tonight in Roanoke for the game between St. James and Handley. Our friend J.R. Brown will be providing the play-by-play, and Wes Stewart will be handling all the engineering on tonight's broadcast on WRBZ. And we know you'll stay with them as you have Brad and I for the last 7 or 8 years broadcasting together, as they will bring you the play-by-play story of tonight's game. We do have the opportunity to visit with head coach Larry Ware in just a couple of minutes to get a little insight on this football team and to take a little deeper dive on what we can expect tonight. So you stay with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes, and we'll take a close look with head coach Larry Ware. We're getting closer to kickoff. It's St. James versus Handley, and this is St. James football on WRBZ.
When most people think of landscaping, they picture a few shrubs and a patch of grass. But at Tanner Landscaping, we transform spaces into lush, vibrant paradises. Based in Pike Road, our family-owned business specializes in both residential and commercial landscaping and irrigation. Our talented team is dedicated to making your landscape dreams come true. Find us on Facebook at Tanner Landscaping, LLC. We are proud supporters of St. James football. Go Trojans.
When a sports injury has you sidelined, Baptist Ortho Now offers comprehensive orthopedic care with no appointment from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday, with board-certified specialists treating injuries and expert physical therapists administering everything from sports medicine to everyday recovery treatment. Baptist Ortho Now, getting you off the bench and back in the action. East Chase across from Target.
In challenging times, trust is everything. At the Bush Law Firm, they specialize in debtors and creditors' rights, offering expert legal restructuring for businesses facing bankruptcy. As one of only 2 firms in Montgomery County equipped to handle such cases, the focus is on guiding you through insolvency with precision and care. Restructuring for a brighter future starts here. The Bush Law Firm. Navigate your path to stability. Visit us online at bushlegalfirm.com.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Has an accident cramped your style? At Montgomery Paint and Body, we turn uh-oh into wow. Whether it's a tiny fender bender or total body repair, we'll have your ride looking stunning, maybe even better than before. When life throws a collision your way, count on us to smooth out the stress. We don't just fix cars. We treat every customer like family, because that's what the Turners are all about. From little fender benders to total body repair, visit Montgomery Paint and Body, East Shirley Lane on the East Boulevard, or call 27-REC. At Montgomery Paint and Body, your vehicle will be as good as new, maybe better.
Well, we're back here in Randolph County as we get ready for kickoff. St. James versus the Handley Tigers. And Coach, this is game 4. Hard to believe we're already nearing the midpoint of the season, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Tough to believe. Yeah, week 4 already. And, halfway through is next week, and we got homecoming next week, and Handley, going to Handley this week is a huge challenge for us. But all of our focus is there and where it needs to be.
Well, this is a region game 2 for the Trojans. Last Friday night kicked off the region season. Trojans on the road against Bullock County, and football team got off to a slow start, but I thought in the second half your team played much, much better.
Yeah, it's the DNA of our team. We gotten off to a slow starts in the first half, and then in the second half, there's really a lot of fight in our Trojans, and they really fought hard this past weekend against Bullock County to pull the game back to being manageable before it got out of hand again. But that's just our DNA. Our kids was really fighting in the second half. We can come out in the first half and have that same type of energy. Who knows what the outcome could be?
Well, this Handley football team, we talked already in the lead up here tonight that they are a perennial power in Class 4A. They have a new coach, but I look at a little bit of tape this week, and they look exactly the same as they did last year in terms of their formation and approach, both on offense and defense.
Yeah, they do look a lot alike they did last year. When we compare the film from this year and last year, their coach is still going to use a lot of different formations, a lot of power type formations to get advantage on as far as numbers are concerned offensively. And we got to be ready for that. We got to be ready to fit our gaps defensively. And I think that if our defense will do what we are capable of doing and what we're supposed to do and what the coaches are asking them to do, I think we got a chance to be okay.
Well, this football team for St. James, start the season. I talked in the lead in tonight. The schedule is front end loaded. I don't know that there's a Class 4A team that's played a tougher schedule than you have. And tonight, this Handley football team is going to run the ball, and that means you're going to have to rely on that defensive line. And even last Friday night, the second half, played very, very well. I know you're proud of them.
Yeah, I am proud of them. And Handley is definitely going to be a running team. It's not to say that they can't throw it, because the guy that's standing back, that quarterback, can twirl it. But we just can't be caught off guard with that. We got to stuff the run and make them throw. But it's not what they like to do. They really like to load up the front line and run at us. So we're going to be prepared for just what they're capable of doing best, and hopefully we can defend it.
Let's talk a little bit about St. James offensively. Last Friday night, again, just a real tough, big football team for Bullock County. Had trouble getting your quarterback enough time to throw, and when you can't get enough time to throw, then running the football becomes difficult. Some people don't understand that, but if you can't throw, it's much harder to run.
It's a very accurate statement. We did the best we could in trying to scheme our offense to get an advantage, to throw the ball when we needed to, when we couldn't run it or we were getting penalties, and always ended up in, first and long to third and long. It took a lot out of our play calling. Not a lot of third and long plays you got, but Coach Hammock, our offensive coordinator, did a great job of trying to scheme up what we were doing offensively to try to get us back into where we need to be as far as going down the field, first down after first down. But, we just kept putting ourselves in a hole by mistakes.
Well, and you mentioned the penalties. I talked about that earlier tonight as we get ready for kickoff, St. James versus Handley. Your offense has not really been able to get a lot of explosive plays, and if you've got an experienced quarterback and experienced receivers and big guys up front, a 5-yard illegal procedure penalty is not a big deal. But when you've got a football team that's still trying to find its way, that extra 5 yards is huge.
It's very, very huge. When you have, like what you said, a skilled quarterback, you can come back from 1st and 15, just by play calling alone. But when you don't have that experience at quarterback, and your 1st down and 15 becomes 2nd down and 20 because of a sack or whatever, because you're trying to throw the ball, it just gets out of hand. We started with a 1st and 5 last week and ended up with 3rd and 25. That just shows you where we are as far as the quarterback situation is concerned. We're doing good things with those guys. We're putting them in the best position that they can excel in, but you got to protect them at the same time, and that's some things that we're not doing. So the challenge has been all year with the offensive line, and it's going to be that same way again tonight with the offensive line, and they just got to get it done.
Let's talk a little bit about the Handley defense. This is the 4th straight year that the Trojans have played the Tigers. In the first 3 games, St. James won last year, 2022 and 23. Those games, hard fought, went to Handley, but they blitz a lot. And in terms of trying to combat that, what do you do?
You really just got to protect your gap. You got to move the pocket a little bit, which we'll try to do with our offensive line and our running back scenarios. But you just can't get caught in those situations where the blitz is going to hurt you. If you can create a good 1st down play, it kind of negates the blitz on the next play. But we'll do the best we can to eat up those gaps where those blitzes are coming, because we'll have a man for a man.
Let's talk a minute or two about your kicking game. Last week, you got your regular kicker back, and I thought the kicking game was much improved.
Yeah, I would say we won the kicking game, which is our goal every week. Put Coach Hayden Stockton in as the special teams coordinator, and we did some good things. Dylan Hines did a great job of punting. Kind of flipped the field when we needed it flipped. We just got to do a better job on our punt return. If we can get the ball, as many punt returns as we can get, but that really sets your pace for your offense. When you're a positive advantage as far as the field is concerned.
Well, you mentioned Dylan Hines, a 70-yard punt last Friday night, the longest punt in school history. So, as you mentioned, very, very good to have him back for you, and he's playing defensive end and tight end as well.
Yeah, he's a humongous part of our offense, humongous part of our defense, and definitely he's a big part of our offense. We're just all of our kids, just like him, they're giving everything that they have, and I really appreciate what those kids are doing.
Well, coaches, we get ready for kickoff, St. James versus Handley. Give us a couple of keys for the Trojans to get out of here with a region win tonight.
I feel like if we can control the offensive line, it's going to be a win for us. Then the defense will do what the defense, is capable of doing. We can get a few stops, and have some short field situations. I think we can be fine. But when we get into the long field, long drive type situations, it's going to be a challenge for us. So we got to create either some turnovers or some 3s and outs.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time as always. I'll let you get back to your guys. We'll be back in 2 minutes. This is St. James football on WRBZ.
Zaxby's is more than just a humble chicken joint. It's a humble chicken joint with the best sauces in the world. See, at Zaxby's, you don't just get their famous hand-breaded chicken fingers, fried to golden perfection with that flavor you know and love. At Zaxby's, you get the sauce. Dip, dunk, and drizzle with your choice of 12 different sauces like Zax sauce, Tum Torch, and hot honey mustard. So if you want a whole lot of sauce, you need to find yourself a Zaxby's. Who's got the sauce?
Zaxby's. Need a little good news in your life? Well, here's the deal. State Farm has new, lower car insurance rates in Alabama. So now you can get the great service and convenience of State Farm agent Brett Coney at an even better price. That's right. State Farm can help you save more cash and get the good neighbor service you deserve. It's the real deal for car insurance. State Farm agent Brett Coney is ready to help you save, Montgomery. Call my office today at 334-272-8423. That's 272-8423. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
If you or your family is a landowner, here is an important thing to know from On Point Habitat Management. The best way to improve the aesthetics and wildlife habitat quality of your property is with a prescribed fire burn. On Point's goal is to never send the landowner a bill, but to use funding available from the Department of Agriculture to accomplish the goals for your property. Consultations are free. Applications for the funding is free. Reach out to them at onpointhabitat@gmail.com.
Great smiles start at Montgomery Dentistry on Woodner Boulevard. Doctors Anderson, Robertson, and Bittner have over 55 years combined dental experience and are proud to be an active part of the St. James community. Montgomery Dentistry accepts most major dental insurance plans, voted best dental practice for 8 years in a row. Ask them about financing options to allow you to get your dental care now and pay later. Located on Woodmer Boulevard. Follow them on Facebook and visit them at montgomerydentistry.com.
You are listening live and right field in Roanoke, Alabama, only about 10 miles west of the Eastern Time Zone, the home of the Handley Tigers. And the St. James Trojans are in Roanoke to face off in a region matchup against Handley tonight for their fourth game of the season. I'm J.R. Brown, and I'll be trying to call the game for you tonight. Big thanks to our technical director, Wes Stewart, for all his setting up. Considerably easier job this week than last week. Got a very nice field here. As many of you know, Handley has a turf field. They have a large number of people on the field ready for the teams to enter. The captains for both sides are making their way to the center of the field. Captains for Handley include number 2, Reed Gardena, number 8, Alex Busman, number 5, Ladarius Tucker, and expected starting quarterback number 18, Corden Patterson. The St. James captains include number 2, Benton Offord, number 13, Andrew Yancey, and number 14, Isaac Capilouto. They're about 2.5 minutes prior to the start of the game. St. James is 0-3 coming into tonight's game, 0-1 in the region. Handley lost their first 2 games out of conference as well, but they did pick up a road victory to start their region play with a victory over Claiborne County last week. So they are at 1-2. As we said, captains are meeting on the center of the field. St. James is dressed out in their regular white road uniforms with the white helmets and the Trojan logo, gold stripes on the side, and navy blue numbers. Handley looks like a cross between the Alabama and the South Carolina football teams. The Alabama look with the red jerseys and the white numerals, white pants, and the stripe down the middle. St. James, it appears, has won the toss. Oh, correction. Handley actually won the toss and elected to defer. St. James will receive and defend the north end zone to start with. Imagine a color halfway between Alabama Crimson and South Carolina Garnet, and a picture of an Alabama college uniform, and that's what the Handley Tigers are wearing tonight. Very clear with the numbers on their helmets and a single white stripe. We're getting ready for both teams to come on the field. Handley has their youth rec department out on the field, so there's several hundred fans ready to go, and St. James will be coming out of the north end zone in a few minutes where the scoreboard is located. Looks like we'll actually have a functioning scoreboard, and here comes the Trojans onto the field. The band made the trip, and they're followed right behind across the way by Handley, and looks like several people got run over in the Handley rush out. I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but all is clear, and it'll take them a few moments to clear the field. Handley will be kicking off left to right, and St. James, the last 2 games, has won the toss and accepted the ball. This time they will have the first possession by way of a Handley defer. St. James, it's been a while since they started off 0-3. Quite frankly, it's been a while since they started off 0-2 in the region, and they're looking for a big win tonight. Handley's always a tough team. As I counted, they have 16 seniors and probably, I'd say maybe 170% of the players dressed out, maybe 50 to 55 players dressed out, as opposed to St. James with 34. Teams are meeting for the last time on the sidelines. It is just now getting dark. Absolutely wonderful weather here in Roanoke. Clear. I see one cloud, probably 20 miles to the northeast. Temperature about 80 degrees, virtually no humidity. We've got no moisture, so there won't be any fog, hopefully, on the field, as there has been prone to in past games. But it looks all nice and clear, and for the Tigers, number 17, Dylan Hunt, will be lining up to kick off. We'll have Dylan Hunt kicking off for Handley, and presumably Dylan Hines kicking off for St. James. This is the first of 3 Tiger opponents this year for the Trojans, like last year. They'll have one next year, and then, of course, or next week, and then Tallahassee later in the season. Here is the kickoff. It is down the middle, and it is going to be fielded at about the 6-yard line by Benton Alford. He's got room on the outside. He's got a big return. He's out all the way outside the 40-yard line. And like last week, we've been told that may be one of the weaknesses on Handley is kick coverage and kicking itself. Number 24, Sean Stiegel, made the tackle, but not after about a 35-yard return. Great return by Alford. Ball out at the 42-yard line. And St. James will start first down and 10. Good to see Mason Craig back in a uniform, and he will be the starting quarterback. There are 3 currently in the backfield, 2 wide. And on first down, the handoff is to Grant Phillips. He breaks 1 tackle and is going to be taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Could have been down more. But again, Stiegel, who made the tackle on the kickoff return, is in as well on that play. Looks like it's going to be a loss of about 3 yards back inside the St. James 40, so it'll be second down and 13. This time, Shaleda and Alford are deep wide. We've got several receivers here to the near side, too, including Grant Phillips. Craig's pass went between the 2 receivers on the far side, Shaleda and Yancey, and incomplete. And quite frankly, it was a bit of a floater and fortunately wasn't picked off. There wasn't a Handley player nearby as well. So St. James has a 3rd down and long to start their first drive. 3rd down, 13 yards to go from inside their own territory. Handley in a standard defense has 2 deep receivers back at the yard needed. Craig is going to have some time. His pass is bouncy, was intended for Isaac Capilouto, but it came up short, and had Capilouto caught it, he was on the ground and would not have had enough for the first down anyway. So St. James, after a fine kickoff return, is forced into a 3-and-out and will be a quick punt. Dylan Hines will be punting, we assume, for St. James. He was one of the highlights of the game last year as he smattered the old St. James school record with a 70-yard punt at a crucial time. This one won't go 70. We'd like to see it go about 60. A bit of pressure. It's a good punt. It's forcing the receiver back to the 20-yard line. Number 15, Elijah Stiegel, takes the ball. He's going to get about a 12-yard return back up into the 32-yard line. Henry Wright and Darian Williams are going to be in on the stop, but Handley is going to have their first possession, first down and 10, starting at their own 32-yard line. 10 minutes and 56 seconds. So St. James possessed the ball for only 64 seconds before they had to punt. And we'll see in the backfield the starting quarterback, as predicted, is number 18, Gordon Patterson. Number 8, I should say, Alex Busman is wide. Number 6, his preferred receiver, Christopher Sutton, is nearby. The ball on first head play is fumbled in a handoff, and it's going to be called an incomplete pass. It was a little flip pass forward. The ball was intended for number 1, McCavian Allen, but it went way backwards. there was no question it was a very short forward pass. Fortunately for Handley, it would have been a big loss. So the net of the play is only an incomplete pass, and it will be 2nd down and 10. Allen came in motion from the near side backwards across the far line and may have actually run too close to the quarterback and just may not have had enough time for the ball to get to his proper hands. He's now in the backfield, 2nd down and 10. The handoff will go to Allen, and he is going to get outside the 35 to the 38, 39-yard line before he's finally slung down by Miles Zukowski. The pickup's going to be about 6 yards, so it'll be 3rd down and 4, almost directly in front of us. I'm sitting at about the 35-yard line on the south side of the field. Handley is headed right to left. 3rd down, 6 yards to go. Number 7, Jamarcus Daniel, is almost uncovered on the far sideline. It's a backward pass to him. They've got it, and he is not going to be tackled. He's going to have room down the sideline, and you could pretty much see that coming. 1st down, a big gain for Handley. Ball was thrown sideways to Daniel, and the coverage was well off, and he made it all the way into Tiger territory. He's going to be marked out of bounds at the 45-yard line. So that's going to be about a 17-yard gain, and Handley is in St. James territory. 1st down and 10. Nice to have functioning clocks. We've got a bright red 40-second clock in the end zone and the time clock as well. Allen takes a handoff this time, and he's going to be hit at the line, maybe down to the 42-yard line, a short gain. Max Ward was first in on the stop. Dylan Hines came in from his linebacker position, or he's actually playing on the line tonight. Ball will be spotted at the 43, so it's a minimal 2-yard gain. 2nd down. Handley running some very conservative sets with the exception of the one deep out on the 3rd down play. Everybody in close, 2nd and 8. Pitch back to Allen, and he's being pursued, and he is not tackled in the backfield. He is going to make it back to the line of scrimmage, but Trojans had him back in Handley territory. He did escape the first tackle, but Shalata is going to force him out of bounds. It is going to still be about a net 1-yard loss, so it's going to be 3rd down and 9, another big key play, and we'll see if the Trojans can get a stop on 3rd down. In the game last week against Bullitt County was more than proficient in making 3rd downs. The same play is set up to number 7, Daniel, but this time Shalata is on him and closer, and they do have considerably more yardage to gain. 3rd down, 9. Stiegel back to pass. The pace hit as he throws the ball, and flags are down all over the field. No, it's definitely a wounded duck, but there are flags way down the field, and they might be discussing this one. I don't know if the ball was actually hit or if it was just the quarterback hit. And no, they're going to call, I couldn't see whether they called pass interference or holding. Nevertheless, it's going to be good enough. It is pass interference, a ball that could have never been called by anybody. But Handley gets a free 15 yards and a free 1st down to the 29-yard line. There was plenty of pressure that time on Stiegel, but he got the pass away far enough down the field where he made it into a productive play as St. James committed the costly penalty. 1st down at the 29. Handley on the move. Ball handed off this time in the middle to Ladarius Tucker, but this time he's going to be stuffed in the backfield by Steenwinder and Miles Zukowski. Behind the line of scrimmage, a yard or two. It will be 2nd down and 11. Handley rotates anywhere from 4 to 5 backs in. Normally, number 7, Jamarcus Daniel, number 1, McCavian Allen, who's in the backfield now, are the primary carriers. Number 5, Ladarius Tucker, a sophomore, has the ball. This time, Stiegel keeps the ball. There was a receiver wide open downfield, but he's keeps the ball and is going to be forced out of bounds close to the 1st down. He's going to be short of the 20-yard line. Picks up good yardage, about 10, 11 yards, and it's going to be 3rd down and maybe a yard and a half as Handley on their first drive has gotten into the red zone. Exactly 8 minutes to go in the first quarter. We are scoreless, but Handley has taken the ball from their own 33-yard line and are now just outside the red zone at the Trojan 21. Third down, we'll call it a yard and a half. And now number 12, Braylon Andrews is in. He hands the ball off, and it will be a first down on a short carry, I think. Ball handed off to Tucker. And, in fact, he is going to be stopped for no gain, according to the announcer. We look, and there is some gain, but I would say it's maybe only half the necessary yardage. I'd say fourth down, maybe 2 feet to go. St. James shuffling players quick. And they will, of course, go for it. And now we have a lineman on the far sideline. Number 79, Jamichael Parker, jumped early. That is going to be a very costly 5-yard penalty against Handley, which will force them back to the just out inside the 25-yard line. So 4th and 2 feet is all of a sudden now 4th and almost 6 yards. Nevertheless, Handley will go. Too late for St. James to make a defensive substitution here. Once again, it's Andrews, and the ball is deep in the end zone and open, and catching it is for a touchdown is Roger Stiegel, number 15, got behind the defense, and number 18, Patterson, got him a touchdown. So on 4th down and 6 from the 25, that's going to be a 25-yard touchdown pass, and Handley opens up the scoring on a 4th down and 6 conversion. That'll be 25 yards. Dylan Hunt in to attempt the extra point, and it appears to be good. It is good. 7 minutes and 8 seconds to go in the first quarter. Handley 7, St. James nothing. We'll be back in 60 seconds. St. James football on WRBZ.
A Regions checking account can help you take your next step in life by giving you smarter, more convenient ways to manage your money. Open a Regions checking account today and bank safely and securely in a branch, online, on your phone, or with a phone call. You'll also love conveniences like text alerts, Regions mobile deposit, and our new bill pay system. Ready to move your life forward? To open a Regions checking account today, visit a branch or log on to regions.com/open now. Regions Bank. Message and data fees may apply to mobile services. Mobile deposit subject to fees.
Hi, I'm Shelly Nichols. If you see home ownership in your future, the future is now. Helping people get mortgages is what I do at Cross Country Mortgage. I'll help you find the home financing option that's right for you. Go to my website at ccm.com/Shelly Nichols and follow me on social media. Contact me today at Cross Country Mortgage about a home loan. Equal housing opportunity, subject to credit approval, NMLS 430123, company NMLS 3029, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Handley has just kicked off to Michael Delbridge on the opposite side of the field. He took the ball inside the 10-yard line, and not quite as much on the previous return, but a nice return outside the 25 to the 29-yard line. St. James will take over 1st and 10. St. James still has not led this season. They've gotten behind in the first quarter in each of their first 4 matchups. And looks like St. James will be playing catch-up again. 1st down and 10. In fact, they're spotting the ball back at the 27-yard line. Craig has Yancey in motion, and he's in the shotgun. He's going to throw a quick pass out. I believe that's Grant Phillips. He's going to get out across the 30, and he's going to be hit on the sidelines, far sidelines at the 34-yard line. Still a pretty good gain on 1st down. And, in fact, that was not Phillips. That was number 12, Michael Hassel, who made the catch. A bit of a dark spot over there, amazingly directly under the light post. Light post goes sideways, but a little dark over there on the far and opposite 30-yard line. Still a good gain of 5.5 yards. And St. James will have 2nd and about 5 outside the 30-yard line. Ball handed up the middle to Craig. He breaks the tackle. He's got the 1st down. He's out across the 40. Brought down by Reed Giardina. but Phillips was very patient. There was traffic at the line. He got past them and got into the second threat up to the 42-yard line. St. James has its initial first down of the game, and we're going to have our first heat timeout of the game, even though the clock continues to run. Let's take a quick 30-second break during the first quarter heat timeout. Handley 7, St. James nothing. You're listening to St. James football on WRBZ.
This is Judge J.C. Love in the Montgomery County Probate Court, wishing the St. James Trojans football team a winning and successful football season. Go Trojans. And while we're cheering for victory on the field, we're also protecting victories at home. Don't let property title fraud take away what you've worked so hard to build. Sign up today for the Probate Court's REACT program, the Real Estate Activity Alert and Contact tool. It's free, it's fast, and it helps safeguard your property. Protect your property, protect your future. Learn more at www.reactnow.com. That's www.reactnow.com. Go Trojans.
We are back here at right field, home of the Handley Tigers, a great big HHS in garnet/red in the middle of the field facing the east sidelines, another stadium where the home team faces toward the sun, but the sun has long since set and the lights have taken hold. We just had our first quarter heat timeout, and St. James picked up their initial first down of the game, first down and 10 from their own 42-yard line. Craig again in the shotgun, passes the ball off to Cameron Hartley, and he's got room on the far sidelines. He is run down by number 5, Ladarius Tucker, but once again, room to work and a nice, safe, short, conservative pass, and St. James is going to pick up 7, maybe possibly 8 yards, almost to the midfield stripe on first down. So second down, and we'll call it a short 3 yards to go. That leaves an open playbook, and it's nice to see St. James making some positive yards on first down and giving them not a desperation situation. Ball handed off, and this time it's given to Ford Bass, and they give back some of that yardage as very quickly Handley was in the backfield. Number 42, Ridge Nelson, broke through his block and stopped Bass back at the 46-yard line, so it's going to be third down and looks like about 6 yards to go. St. James has to get to the Tiger 48 to continue this drive. Alford is going to go wide right along with Phillips and Yancey. We've got Shalata by himself on the near sidelines. Now Yancey brought in, third down, under 5 minutes to go. It's a handoff and the ball to Bass again, and he's not going to get much at all. In fact, he's going to be dropped for another yard loss. Number 75, Zayden Owensby, big man in the middle, gets credit for the stop, and after a promising start to that drive, St. James is shut down at the 44-yard line, and it'll be once again time for Hines to punt. Number 15, Stiegel, who caught the touchdown pass moments ago, is deep at his 26-yard line. We'll see if this time Hines can get the ball inside the 20-yard line. He's got a bit of pressure. It's a good high punt. And the ball is going to hit, and it's going to bounce sideways. In fact, it bounces way back. Ball bounced about the 6-yard line and bounced all the way back to the 14. But that's still what you want to see, a punt inside the 20-yard line, no return. So Handley will start their second possession in considerably worse field position than they started drive one at their own 14-yard line. 3 minutes, 46 seconds to go. Handley drove approximately 68 yards, I'd say in 8-9 plays. 25-yard touchdown pass to Stiegel ended the drive, and the extra point gave the Tigers a 7-0 lead. St. James on their second defensive drive. First and 10 from the 14. Looks like Tucker is in the backfield. We got a pass, and it is caught on the far sidelines, and a jersey grab is not good enough to bring down number 7, Jamarcus Daniel. He's going to take a potential tackler out of bounds, but a good pickup outside the 30 to the 33-yard line. That's almost a 20-yard pickup. So
right in front of us, about where the previous drive started. Handley makes up that bad field position on the punt and has 1st and 10 at the 33-yard line. With the exception of the touchdown pass, nothing deep, just they're keeping their receivers to the far sideline. There's a handoff up the middle, and it's going to be a minimal gain, 3-4 yards. Haven't seen that. That's a new number with fresh legs. A shorter runner, number 13, Nate Vowell. He is a senior, but he gets kind of lost among all the tall boys out there. He's, I'd say, probably in the neighborhood of 5'8". He managed to pick up 4.5, 5 yards on the play. Will be 2nd down, 5 yards to go as we hit the 3-minute mark of the first quarter. Handley up 7-0. Patterson hands the ball off again. Once again, it goes, looks like, to Vowell, and he's going to pick up about the same amount of yardage. It's going to be very close to the necessary yardage. He's going to be marked at the 43-yard line, and that's another 5 yards, good enough for a Handley 1st down. Handley's moved 29 yards in 3 plays, and it will be 1st down and 10 at the 43 in a relatively quick moving first quarter. 2 minutes and 25 seconds to go. Handley has only faced, I believe, 2 third downs, including the pass, and now Patterson is back to pass. He's got some pressure and wide open, but dropped. The ball was intended for number 6, Christopher Sutton. He had plenty of room in front of him, would probably have picked up 20 yards or so. Mason Craig was on the coverage, but a well-thrown pass. It just went right through the hands of Sutton, and fortunate for the Trojans, it will show as an incomplete, and it will be 2nd down and 10. That is the first play of any kind of passing since the touchdown that has been run toward the near Trojan sideline. 2nd and 10, clock stop 2:13. There's that backwards pass again, this time to Elijah Stiegel. Breaks a tackle. He is caught by Luke Catchings, but not until he gets well downfield back into Trojan territory at the 44-yard line. That's going to be a 13-yard gain, and that little sideways pass. St. James is only single covering it, and if the receiver, Stiegel, can get by the first line of defense, they're turning it into a 15 or 20-yard gain every time. This time, Jamarcus Daniel on the wide side and Stiegel on the near side both line up. 1st and 10. Ball handed off to number 4, DJ Gray, and he's not going very far at all. Runs into the Trojan line. Luke Catchings came up from his spot. Also, 75, Andrew Sellers in on the stop. Play is going to gain a yard, maybe a yard and a half at the most. Short of the 42-yard line, it will be 2nd down and 8. St. James looking for some inspiration to the sideline from Coach Corley. And this seems to be the favorite alignment for the Tigers with the 2 wide receivers. There's a fumble on the snap, and the handoff is picked up and given to Gray, but that just completely threw the timing of that play out. Phillips was in the backfield. Sellers once again, and they pushed the ball back. Fortunate to be not a bigger loss, and, of course, fortunate for Handley not to be a turnover. Ball is at the 45-yard line. That'll be 3rd down and a sizable 11 yards to go. We're inside 40 seconds and counting in the first quarter. Once again, let's see Stiegel, who appears to be the favorite target of Patterson on the near sideline. Patterson back to pass. He's being pressured. He's got no receiver. It was a receiver way across the field. That was Stiegel, and the throw was just somewhere within the neighborhood. He was being chased by Shalata, but Shalata didn't grab him that time, and the pass just went harmlessly incomplete. Good pressure that time on Patterson. It will be 4th down and 11 yards to go. 17 seconds to go, and we'll see what Handley chooses to do. They still have Patterson in. It looks like they will go for it.
We'll see if they try one of these sideline passes again. We've got Alex Busman, fresh legs to the far sideline. See if they try to draw St. James off and get some better yardage. And it won't matter as the play clock has expired, and Handley's going to be penalized 5 yards for delay of game. I don't know if that was on purpose or not. They did get a snap off, but it was just after the 25-second clock. So the ball is back at midfield, and now Handley has decided, let's try and pin St. James in. And let's go back and punt. Now Patterson, who is a quarterback just like last week as Ty Wallace was, is also the punter for Handley. And there's the punt. It's a low punt. It's going to take a good bounce. And it's going to roll dead at about the 10-yard line. It was about a 15-yard favorable bounce. And they're going to mark it actually at the 13-yard line as the ball was touched. And St. James will probably have one play left before the end of the first quarter, 8.8 seconds to go. St. James did stop Handley. Handley kind of stopped themselves with a penalty and a wayward throw. So it'll be first down for St. James and hopefully try to get some more offense, more than one first down generated. But they're deep in their own territory at the 13-yard line. We've got an empty backfield, so Craig has options. Looks like some confusion in the Handley defense. Incy in motion, the flip to him, and he is not going to have room. He's going to be taken down at the line of scrimmage. Number 44, correction, number 14, that's Jay Robertson, is going to stop him. That will be the final play of the first quarter. We'll go entirely to the other end, and St. James will have a second down and long yardage. 7-0 Handley at the end of the first quarter. We'll be back in 60 seconds. You're listening to St. James Trojan Football.
Discover your stunning new look at Doug's 2 Salon. Find your breathtaking new hairstyle or color with our expert stylists and salon artists, and look absolutely radiant with our extensions, balayage, and keratin treatments. You'll find products from Aveda and Bumble and Bumble, so even when you leave the salon, you keep looking sensational. Call to make your appointment and look and feel amazing today.
I'm Cliff Meidel, 2-time Olympic athlete in the sport of sprint kayaking. In 1986, my life changed forever when I struck 3 buried high-voltage cables while working on an excavation site. 30,000 volts of electricity blew through my body. I'm lucky to be alive and able to walk again. Accidents like mine can be avoided with a simple call to 811.
Accidents can happen to anyone. Know what's below. Always call 811 before digging. Brought to you by Alabama 811.
We are back to start the second quarter at right field in Roanoke, Alabama, home of the Handley Tigers. Handley has a 7-0 lead as we begin the second quarter. The first down play, actually a pass completion, lost 3 yards. Ball is back to the 10-yard line where it appeared the drive would have started anyway. So it's going to be second down and 13 as St. James now goes right to left. On your computer or your radio dial, as the case may be, trips left. Time is running low on the clock. The ball is passed and it is complete to Offord. He had to come back to the pass to catch it. Back to about the 7-yard line. He gets the yardage lost on first down back. And that is about it. Number 24, Sean Stiegel, brother of number 15, Elijah Stiegel, made the tackle. That picked up the yardage lost on the first play, but it's back to third down and 10, and St. James again in a crucial third down connect situation. Trips to the wide side, Offord, Hassel, and Phillips. Andrew Yancey near, and the ball is hit, and it is fumbled, and it is picked up by Handley, and it's going to be a touchdown. Number 42, Ridge Nelson, picked up the ball. Poor Mason Craig was just blindsided at about the 5-yard line. The ball was fumbled, and number 42 picked it up, and he had a very easy walk of about 3 yards into the end zone and a defensive score has given Handley a 13-0 lead. There was nothing Mason could do. He waited a bit for a while. Nobody yelled at him, and he was hit from behind. Ball went down in a mix of players and was picked up quickly by Nelson. And he has the touchdown. There's a flag on the extra point attempt. It is a substitution infraction against St. James. They actually had 12 men on the field for the extra point defense. So we'll see, if anything, what happens. Looks like Handley is just going to decline the penalty and take the try from the regular distance. Ball still at the 3-yard line. A kick from the 10-yard line, the equivalent of a 20-yard field goal, a standard extra point. Dylan Hunt in to attempt that extra point. And the kick appears to be good. It is 11 minutes and 14 seconds. Handley has doubled their lead to 14-0. We'll be back in 30 seconds. St. James football on WRBZ.
Hello, I'm Sheriff Derek Cunningham of the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. We're a proud supporter of St. James football. Being a member of this community and knowing that these students are part of our community, we at the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office would like to let you know that we support you this football season and we're here for you this football season.
We're back quickly. St. James was pinned deep after a punt and a defensive touchdown for Handley, a 3-yard fumble return by Ridge Nelson. Handley senior. Easy walk in the end zone. No doubt the easiest touchdown he'll ever score. And Handley is suddenly up 14-0, less than a minute into the second quarter. Handley once again preparing to kick off. Their third such kickoff already, or is that the fourth? No, it'd be the third, the opening kickoff and 2 after scores. Hunt is preparing to kick off. Delbridge is on the near sideline, and Alford's on the far side. And the kick this time is going to go toward Alford, but it's going to go out of bounds at about the 10-yard line. So we'll see St. James will probably take the ball directly in front of me at the 35 unless they decide to push the kicker 5 yards back. And with the poor field position, I can pretty much guarantee the 35-yard line is going to be just fine. With Coach Ware and the offensive staff, it is. And first down and 10 from the 35-yard line. Technically, the ball is spotted at the 30-yard line, and the 5-yard penalty for out of bounds moves the ball up to the 35. I learned that rule last year. So St. James first down and 10 with better field position at the 35-yard line. Craig in the backfield this time. Bass is on the far sideline. It was pressure from the near sideline that got to him that time. Bad snap. Craig takes the ball, and he's going to be taken down in the backfield. Number 75. Zay Nosby tackles Craig back at the 30-yard line. There is a flag on the play on the very near sideline, which was away from the play. And we'll see what that's about. The ball was in the middle of the field. That was nowhere near the play. A personal foul has been called against Handley. So the play is going to count back to the 30-yard line. And then there's going to be a 15-yard penalty, which is going to put the ball right at the 45-yard line. Since the ball is on the 45-yard line, that is not an automatic first down, but the exact 10-yard gain is going to be good enough. So St. James in net will get the first down thanks to a pretty silly penalty away from the ball on Handley. Just don't retaliate, stay cool, and the ball at the 45-yard line. Better snap. Craig keeps the ball this time. Gets around one tackler and is going to dive forward for half a yard at the best. Number 42, Ridge Nelson, who just scored the touchdown on the fumble return, is the one that grabbed him and bring him down. Ball is still spotted on the 45-yard line, so that's going to be a no gain for Craig. Second down and 10. Handley has several big players. Zayden Owensby, number 75, and again, number 42. Nelson is playing on the line. Craig going to throw the ball wide open. Ball is caught by Phillips. He breaks a tackle. He's into Handley territory and is finally brought down at the 47-yard line. There is a flag down. Holding or roughing the passer is actually going to be called against Handley. I was busy watching the catch, wide open. Phillips, and apparently Craig was knocked down well after the play. So the catch is going to be good for about maybe 5-6 yards into Handley territory. And Handley will be hit with their second 15-yard penalty in a row. And this one will be an automatic first down, even though it's more than enough yardage. They're trying to see where to mark the ball from. The play ended at the 43-yard line and the 48-yard line of Handley, and it's going to be moved down to the 33-yard line. So St. James has first down and 10 at the 33-yard line. We're just under 10 minutes to go. Handley has a 14-0, scoring on 2 of their first 3 drives. St. James forced a punt on each of their first 3. Craig takes a snap, throws a pass forward to Bass. He gets past one line. It's going to be up to about the 32-yard line. A short gain, looked better, but wriggled on the inside and ran into, again, Bridge Nelson, who all of a sudden seems to be everywhere near the ball after that fumble recovery. Good-looking play, but it only nets a yard. So it'll be second down and 9. Maybe time for another Handley penalty. Again, 4 receivers wide. They're split evenly this time. Number 14, Capilouto on the near side, and we have a whistle. And it looks like St. James is going to be called for a delay of game. It seemed like a very quick 25-second clock. I wasn't watching it, but no, Ari, that doesn't seem right. And the coaching staff is saying something didn't look right. Perhaps that should have been actually a 40-second play because it was in bounds and they started it at 25. Nevertheless, the 5-yard penalty pushes the ball back outside the 35-yard line, second down and long. Playoff this time. Craig's pass is intercepted. It was the same play intended, and the ball is intercepted by Jamarcus Daniel. He's going to run back for a touchdown, but it's not going to count as there are several flags on the play. An obvious block in the back and probably a hold as well. That was the same play that was attempted on the penalty where Craig was passed. Daniel intercepted the ball at about the 35-yard line, ran it back down the near sidelines and had plenty of room. Flag was thrown at the Trojan 44, and holding was called as a Trojan defender was literally tackled over there on the far sideline. So the turnover will stand. That's the second already for St. James. Handley will get the ball. It will be back at the 46-yard line of the Tigers, and Handley will take over first and 10. There were 2 or 3 St. James wide receivers in the area, but there appeared to be about 4 or 5 defenders as well, and the ball was thrown, taken sideways by Daniel, and he would have had about a 65-yard touchdown return. But the holding penalty negates that, and Handley is held in their own territory, first down and 10 from the 46. Handoff up the middle and very little yardage. Very simple handoff up the middle. Max Ward missed the stop. McCavian Allen, who is the normal back in the lineup directly behind Stiegel on most of those plays, took the handoff. He's going to get credit for a 2-yard gain, maybe 2.5 yards, carrying the pile full. Still in Tiger territory, second down, 7 yards to go, 7:55 to go. Handley up 14-0. There's a handoff and getting into Trojan territory. Looks like it might be Allen again. It is. And he's going to be down to the 47-yard line. Luke Catchings has the stop. It's going to be third down and about 2 yards to go for another Handley first down. Ball at the 46. Number 51, Landon Wiggum, going in quick. See if we can. And it would not have been able to get the player off the field, Max Ward. So St. James smartly calls a timeout. That's the first charge timeout of the half. Let's take a 60-second break. Handley 14, St. James nothing. St. James football on WRBZ.
If joint pain or athletic injury has you out of the game, call the Houston Clinic team at 334-245-6605. Doctors Lee Murphy and Derek Wessner are seasoned healthcare providers working to provide high-quality sports medicine care to the athletes of the River region. Dr. Murphy is an orthopedic surgeon. His clinical focus is on shoulder, elbow, and knee disorders. Dr. Wessner is a veteran and primary care sports medicine physician specializing in the primary care treatment of all musculoskeletal conditions. Visit Doctors Murphy and Wessner at Houston Clinic on Taylor Road in Montgomery.
Go, go, go. That's life. And at CB&S Bank, we help you keep up. We're redesigning financial freedom with the most sophisticated digital products. Check balances, pay bills, transfer funds, manage your card, and even deposit checks from wherever you are. Make purchases using your CB&S Bank debit card through your mobile device with Mobile Wallet in participating stores and restaurants. Learn more at cbsbank.com. Charges and fees may apply from your cellular service provider. Contact your service provider for information. Member FDIC.
After the St. James timeout, 3rd down and 2 yards to go. St. James would have definitely had a 5-yard penalty. Into the backfield and hit down immediately as Allen was that Gukowski got into the backfield at the handoff, and Allen is going to lose 2 yards back to the 49. And we'll see what Handley chooses to do there. Very quick entrance into the backfield, and it looks like Handley is going to once again decide to try to pin St. James deep, as it has been successful. We'll see if St. James may try to go for a punt, but of course, again, the quarterback Patterson is doubling as a punter, and we'll see if he might have something up his sleeve. There's the kick. It's a much better kick this time. Fair catch is caught. Little long arms by Alford. The ball once again at the 10-yard line, where I thought the last drive would have stopped, and we will keep it here as the second quarter heat timeout will be coming up soon, but we'll run a play or two before that. 6:37 to go. Handley up 14-0 on the strength of a Corden Patterson to Elijah Stiegel touchdown pass, 25 yards, and a 3-yard fumble return by Ridge Nelson. We said St. James has yet to take a lead this season, and they're playing from behind again. You don't want to get more probably than 2 touchdowns behind, or it may be too big to overcome. This time we've got Grant Phillips at quarterback, and we'll see if that might change up some luck. Craig is in motion. He goes behind, and the ball is handed off. No, it's kept by Phillips. He breaks one tackle and is going to be tackled forward to the 14-yard line. Number 24, Sean Stiegel with the stop. But Phillips on a smart keep, faked the handoff, and was going to pick up 4 yards on the play, 2nd down. St. James has been deep in their own territory, probably running no more than 2 or 3 plays in Handley territory, and those just barely. Coming up on the 6-minute mark, heat timeouts will be much appreciated tonight. Handley may not appreciate them for stopping their momentum. Let's see what happened. Phillips still in, takes the snap. There's a pass and wide open on the far sideline, good for a 1st down. That's number 13, Yancey. He's going to take the ball out across the 30-yard line to the 33. That's going to be, or the 23, I should say. It's a 9-yard gain. They're going to mark him out at the 21, but that's still good enough for the 1st down. And there is the heat timeout, 5:48 seconds, another 30-second break, another fine sponsor you can listen to while you're listening to St. James football on WRBZ.
From all the employees at Adams Drugs, we want to say thank you to those who already trust us with your health care and prescription needs. If you are looking for a pharmacy, we would like to invite you to visit our website, adamsdrugs.net, and find a location nearest to you. We have 12 locations in the River region with services such as wellness screenings, blood pressure checks, and compounding, just to name a few. Please come in and experience the Adams Drugs difference. We look forward to serving you and your family.
We're back after the second quarter heat timeout. St. James just converted a first down, 1st and 10 from their own 21-yard line. A fumble snap, and who recovers the ball? Did Phillips get it? No, he did not. Actually, that was Craig, and the ball bounced back to him, and it was recovered by number 6, Christopher Sutton. That's the 3rd turnover for St. James, and Handley immediately in quick scoring position. 1st down and 10 at the Trojans 16. A bad snap, fumble, and it was quickly recovered by Handley. Handley quickly in good field position. 1st down and 10. Getting the ball at the St. James 16. St. James badly in need of a stop here. Patterson hands the ball off. Ball goes to Allen. He's been the runner of choice. Actually, correct. That's number 4, DJ Gray, stopped at the 15-yard line. Steenwinder has a stop, short 1-yard gain, very conservative play. It's 2nd down. One of the Handley up front men, number 79, Michael Parker, is limping, but he doesn't have to run very fast. He's just big. He's playing right tackle right now. And it will be 2nd down, 9 yards to go for a first down, 15 yards to go for a touchdown. Ball handed off to Gray once again. He's going to be down to the 12-yard line. Henry Wright brings him down. Assisted again by Steenwinder. It's going to be 3rd down to the 13-yard line, 7 yards to go as time wanes in the second quarter, 4.5 minutes to go. And definitely St. James needs a stop here. 3rd down, we'll call it a long 7 yards to go from the 13-yard line. Daniel is wide on the far sideline, and number 3, a new name, Tavian Houston, is wide here on the near sideline. 9 seconds left on the play clock for Patterson. He takes the snap, and the pass over the middle is caught by number 7, Daniel, on a slant pass. The ball was behind him, but still caught. And he's going to be down to the 1-yard line. That's good enough for a Handley first down, 1st and goal from right on the 1-yard line. Time for the St. James defense to bow up big. We'll see they've got number 23, Will McDonald, looks like, in the backfield. And the ball is going to be kept by Patterson, and he just follows his lineman into the end zone. Touchdown, Handley. So Patterson threw for a touchdown in the first quarter, and he runs for a 1-yard touchdown here. And Handley now has a 20-point lead. 3:39 remaining. That was a very easy 16-yard drive. It went in 3 plays, and St. James has committed 3 turnovers, and at least 2 of them have resulted directly in touchdowns. Something that St. James hasn't been bit by very much earlier this season. The kick this time is good, just snuck inside the wide upright. So it's now Handley 21, St. James nothing, 3:39 to go, 60-second break. St. James football on WRBZ.
All aboard for healthy smiles. At Dentistry for Children, they love to make kids smile. Dr. Schreiber and Dr. Thomas specialize in pediatric dentistry, treating infants, children, and patients with special needs. You can trust Dentistry for Children to provide the highest quality care for children of all ages. Beautiful smiles begin at Dentistry for Children. Call today to make your appointment with their professional caring staff. Dentistry for Children in Montgomery and Wetumpka, proudly making kids smile for over 40 years.
Nothing gets your attention like the pain you get when it hurts to walk. When you have that pain, reach out to Southern Specialty Physicians. Dr. Brian Sellers is a board-certified vascular surgeon with over 15 years of experience. And Dr. Brandon McCullum is an experienced podiatrist. Southern Specialty Physicians are working to keep Alabama walking. Located across from the AUM Water Tower on Sydney Curve and online at ssp.care.
We are back just in time for another Dylan Hunt kickoff. This ball is going to land in the hands of Brent Alford at the 9-yard line, and again gets pretty good coverage. Is going to take it up to the 31-yard line, brought down by Martez Thomas. Handley now beginning to substitute players, especially on the special teams. They're freshmen coming in, making tackles, but another good return of over 20 yards on the kickoff. First down and 10 at the 31-yard line, and St. James in desperate need of some kind of score, some kind of positive output, and definitely not needing to commit another turnover. 21-0, 3:33 remaining. Both of the bands are making their way out onto the sidelines, not onto the field yet, thank goodness. Once again, it's Grant Phillips. There's the snap. It's a good snap. Ball handed off and going virtually nowhere. The ball was handed off to Cameron Hartley, and he was targeted by not targeted, I guess that's not a good word. Alex Busman was on him in a second. Ball back to the 28-yard line, a 3-yard loss. And the Handley front line is having their way with St. James, finding holes and stopping any potential momentum whatsoever. Second down, 13. That sounds vaguely familiar. Still got Phillips. 10 seconds left on the shot clock as the coach is saying gotta hurry. They'll get the playoff in time. Phillips looking to pass, and he's going to avoid one tackle, but he's going to be brought down at the 15-yard line. Number 24, Sean Stiegel, gets him back at the 17. That'll be a loss of more than 10 yards, and it's going to be fourth down and very many. St. James had some luck with some shorter passes earlier, but just don't seem to have the time to throw now, and we're going to try third down and 23 yards to go, very deep in territory. 2 minutes and 13 seconds and counting. And third down, let's see if St. James can at least run some clock. If they can't convert the ball, a safe handoff up the middle. This takes the ball to the 20-yard line, and he's going to pick up 3 yards, but it will still be fourth down and a longer than 20. Handley does not elect to take a timeout, but Hines will be going in to punt for St. James. 15 Stiegel, touchdown pass recipient, is deep. Clock continues to run, and I'm sure St. James will milk as much of the remaining 20 seconds of the clock as possible. Fourth down, and I would say another touchdown might be too much to overcome. It may be that way already, but we'll see what happens. 5 seconds on the clock. Hines takes the snap. It's a good kick, high. Ball is going to be caught and avoids the first tackler inside the 34-yard line, finds another tackler, and he has room on the far sidelines into Trojan territory. Broke several tacklers. 1 minute left. A flag is on the field near the end of the return. Ball was fielded by Stiegel at about the 30-yard line. He carried back into St. James territory inside the 45 to where the first down marker would have been the 43. But it looks like a crackback block has been called. You don't see that called very often against Handley. It was behind the play, so the ball will be pushed back into Tiger territory inside the 40-yard line, all the way back to the 37-yard line, so a big penalty. Handley will take over first down and 10 with 3 timeouts remaining and a full 60 seconds of clock time. St. James defense needs one big stop. A turnover would be mighty nice, especially in giving them some kind of field position. Patterson has two in behind the backfield. Houston, the fresh legs. We'll see if they are conservative. No. Here's a pass play. There's pressure. Patterson gets through the ring. He's going to get into Trojan territory and has plenty of room to run. He's going to be finally forced out of bounds by Capilouto, but way inside the 35 to the 33-yard line. So from the 37 of St. James for Handley to the 33 of St. James, a big gain, and he gets out of bounds to boot with still basically 50 seconds remaining on the clock. St. James had the pressure, but once he escaped the pressure, there was no second line of defense, or the second line of defense was well back. Handley first down and 10, directly in front of me, headed left to right at the 33-yard line. Ball handed off to Ladarius Tucker. He breaks a tackle and is carrying tacklers. He's carrying 4 and 5 St. James tacklers. They've got to be getting tired, all the way down to the 17-yard line. A 16-yard gain, and probably 14 of that was all of the powerful legs of Ladarius Tucker. The fresh legs of Handley are making big inroads now. The clock is running. First down and 10 at the 17-yard line. Patterson with the snap. Reverse run to Jamarcus Daniel. He breaks a tackle. He's going to be down near the end zone, and he's going to be stopped at the 1-yard line. Not quite into the end zone. Capilouto made the stop short of the goal line. 17.8 seconds to go. Handley's going to call a timeout. To preserve some time, call a play, and we'll just leave it here. 17.8 seconds to go. And Handley looking for their fourth touchdown of the first half. This one not due to a turnover per se, but again, a good punt return despite a penalty and a big gain on first down. And Handley is 1 yard away from scoring their fourth touchdown of the game. Remind everybody at halftime, those of you listening here at the game will have on the field performances by both the St. James and Handley marching band. Those of you watching or listening home at Facebook, be sure to keep up with what's happening at St. James School this weekend. It'll be an exciting program with Elisa Cantrell and her weekly guest. That's coming up in 17 seconds. We'll see if St. James can hold Handley out of the end zone, although with 1 yard to go and still 2 timeouts if necessary, it will be difficult at best, but the defense is lining up. And we're ready to go. First down and 10. Ball right at the 1 yard line. We'll see if once again Patterson keeps the ball and goes for his third straight touchdown. He does, and he is not going to make it. He's actually forced back. Looked like he was going to reach the ball over, but was afraid it might have been knocked out. Dylan Hines, Phillips was in there as well. Handley calls a second timeout with exactly 10 seconds remaining. And according to the referees, that ball couldn't be any closer whatsoever to the goal line. Tell you what, let's take a real quick 30-second timeout for another sponsor. You're listening to St. James Football on WRBZ.
When you speak with patients at Just for Grins Orthodontics, you hear things like, the staff is great. My daughter's teeth look perfect. I've been using them for over 2 years, and my service has been nothing short of amazing. Or, my teeth have always made me a little self-conscious. Just for Grins fixed that, and not only do my teeth look great, they make me feel great. If you or your family need braces or Invisalign in a lively environment using the latest technologies with over 3 decades of experience, let's make the smile of your dreams a reality. Visit justforgrinsortho.com.
We are back. Handley has second down and inches, if that, away from a touchdown. And let's see, Patterson does not take the ball. He hands the ball off to number 5, Ladarius Tucker, and finds room off the left end, and he's in for a touchdown. The second rushing touchdown tonight for the Tigers, and they boost their lead to 27-0 with 6.5 seconds remaining in the half. Handley held only a 7-0 lead at the end of the first quarter, but 3 touchdowns, 2 of them fueled by fumbles. And a third touchdown. Kick is up. Kick is good. Low wobbler. So Handley is now up 28-0. We'll keep it here, 6.5 seconds left, and we'll see if St. James maybe can get a good kickoff return and maybe one play off. There'll be some major adjustments. Probably the thing that the defense needs right now is just rest, as there are hands on hips, and Handley continues to bring in fresh legs, probably 6 to 7 ball carriers already. Alford and Delbridge are going to be deep to recover the kick. Handley in no big hurry. They're over on the sidelines, high-fiving each other, and deservedly so. A very solid half of football. Despite a few penalties, St. James has made a few penalties their own, but the 3 turnovers, no doubt the deciding stat in the first half. Dylan Hunt preparing to kick off. We'll see if there's time for maybe the kickoff in one play, or maybe the upstairs clock official will have some mercy. Here's a bouncing kick. It's forwarded and immediately downed. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but taken down by Cameron Hartley at the 21-yard line. So we will have time for another play. First down and 10, and we'll see if St. James just downs the ball. To make matters worse, of course, St. James will not have the ball to start the second quarter as Handley won the toss, and St. James maybe will have the chance to pin Handley deep in their own territory with a kickoff. First and 10 from the 21, and I wouldn't expect anything, ultra risky. Handley has defenders all the way back to the 50-yard line just in case, and St. James has 3 in the backfield, and it's going to be a direct snap to Phillips, who takes the ball down, and that will be the final play of the first half. Handley is going to take a 28-0 lead over St. James as the teams go to the locker rooms. We'll be back in 23 minutes, 20 minutes of halftime and 3 minutes of warm-up. Enjoy the halftime facilities on your medium of choice, and we'll be back for the second half of St. James football in 20 minutes on WRBZ.
Good evening and welcome to this week's Trojan Spotlight. I am so excited to have Maddie Claire Jones with us tonight. She is a 2020 St. James alum and is also new to our teaching faculty this year. Maddie Claire, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here.
That's awesome. We're so happy to have you in all the ways. So you graduated in 2020 in the height of COVID.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes, I did.
Yes. Tell me what happened after you graduated, where you went, and talk maybe a little bit about how you feel St. James prepared you for that step.
Yes. So, of course, COVID hit, and it was like we went on spring break and just never returned. But St. James was really good about taking care of us seniors during all of that. I went to Troy University at Troy and decided to major in elementary education. And so when I first got there, I wasn't always elementary ed. I was trying out new things, like different majors, different classes, but I always felt like my place was in education. And I really feel like that was because of St. James, definitely because growing up, going through school at St. James, the teachers have had such an impact on my life. And I'm like, if they could impact me in such a positive way and in such a strong way, then I could do that for other children. And so I think that's how St. James really helped me decide on my career, because I just had the best experience growing up. I had a great childhood here, and I loved all the teachers that I had. And I just knew, like, if they could do it, I could do it. And so that's probably the most prepared I was for college, was just the inspiration that I took from St. James.
That's awesome. I love hearing, now that you're on faculty, that, when we talk about wanting to impact our students' hearts and minds, that's not just talk. It's something that we live out every day. And I love that you experienced that and felt that yourself. I think that is amazing.
Absolutely. Firsthand. It was more than just academics. Even though academics was pushed, it was really a lot of love and support poured into me. So
Yeah.
I wanted to do that for other kids.
That's great. So you are first year full-time faculty. This is not your first time being back at St. James. So talk a little bit about, kind of leading up to this first full-time job and how you feel like it's going now being on the other side.
Well, that's one great thing about St. James is you can always come back.
That's right.
Because during college, I came back into the WonderWorks program during the school year, and then over the summer, I came back and I was a camp counselor for Camp STJ. And so St. James encourages you to come back and keeps providing opportunities, even in college and outside of college. And so, of course, being around here and seeing everybody, and I was just like, gosh, like that would be a dream come true to come back and teach here with all the teachers that I have had or that I know. And I started making such strong connections with the children already through WonderWorks and camp. And so when I graduated, an opportunity opened up at St. James, and I was a long-term sub for one of our teachers that went on maternity leave. And then that just led right into this open second grade position. And so it really has, I feel like I never left in the best way.
Yeah. That's great. So you have an even more interesting story to tell because the person that maybe influenced you the most is also the person whose position you took. She decided to retire. Talk a little bit about your relationship with Miss Sherman.
Yeah, so the teacher that I replaced was Miss Sherman. She retired, and it was really sweet because I had her for K3 and second grade.
Oh.
And so when I was sitting in my college classes, deciding about what I want to do with my life, of course, like so many teachers impacted me, but I knew that I wanted to be a teacher because Miss Sherman she was just fantastic. I just remember her always being consistent, always being kind, always making sure I felt prepared in every way. And so she's someone that is very special to me. And it was really sweet to come back, and she took the keys off her neck and put them around my neck. Aww. And I took her room, and it was a very sweet, sentimental moment for the student to become the teacher and continue that legacy. So it was great. It was just such a sweet moment. And Miss Sherman still calls and still checks on me. So even though she's off retired and relaxing, she's still checking in and making sure I'm okay. So that has become a lifelong relationship, which is great.
That's awesome. I love her.
Great.
I know. Darling. I love her.
Yes, she invests in everybody. I mean, that's probably, and it's not just her, it's all the teachers here. I think like they invest everything in these kids. And so they really do grow up and they don't forget and they come back. So
I know, that's great. Okay. So now that you are officially teaching, what has been probably the most impactful thing to you already this year?
Definitely just the support from everybody. I never felt like I was, I didn't know anything or I was inferior or I'm just a new person. I was welcomed with open arms by every single faculty and staff member, telling me how happy they are that I'm here, that if I need anything, they have my backs, that I can come to them. Their doors are always open. And they have not just said that, they've also lived up to that, because you can ask. I have gone around, I have asked for help. They have really, really, really taken such good care of me and made me feel so welcome, and checking in on me, talking to me, loving on me, pouring into me. And it really is so great to work somewhere where you genuinely feel like you have a work family. Like you could call anybody at the school at any moment and they would be there.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah. I am in my 6th official year on full-time faculty and staff. I subbed for about 2 years prior to that, and then was parent for several years prior to that. And yeah, it's a family. It absolutely is.
Absolutely. And that is just I feel like that's so rare to find. Like it is such a blessing to be here and teach here, because everybody is happy that I'm here. Yeah. And I feel that, and they tell me that, and not a single person here like they all check in on me and take care of me. And that is really rare to find at other schools.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Let me see. Your brother Drew is one of my favorites.
Yes.
He,
Yes. One of everybody's favorites. He's great.
such a mess. But he's such a like Southern gentleman. That's what I've always loved about him is he's so polite and respectful and, but he keeps everybody on their toes too. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Mama tried very hard. So
I'm sure you had a little bit of a role in that too.
yeah, I would put my 2 cents in, but he is doing great. And he graduated from St. James and now he's at Auburn. He's a junior now. And he is just thriving at Auburn. And that a lot of that is because of the preparation that St. James has done for him and the teachers that have poured into him as well. He's even come back and had some of his old high school teachers tutoring him and taking care of him even still. So it's just nice that there's always a door open to come back,
Yeah.
even for me and for him. And he's not even in education. So it's great.
That's amazing. Okay, last question. Where, and I know this is early, but where do you see yourself in like 5 years?
5 years?
Uh-huh.
Hopefully still here. In 5 years, I would love to have my master's. I'm really interested in continuing my education, continuing my growth in knowledge. And so in 5 years, I want to be here and I just want to see growth in myself. And so I think that's the biggest and most important thing as an educator, to just continue your education, continue growing, continue learning. And I want to do it in this environment where everybody is striving to better themselves.
Yeah. And you realize in 5 years, your first class will be in 7th grade.
Oh, gosh, that is crazy to think
Isn't that insane?
I know. I feel like the years is already going by. Like we're already in September, which is wild to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, I appreciate you joining us tonight. We're so glad to have you here as a member of the faculty. And I love anytime I run into you, you're always smiling and happy. And, you just exude joy, which the kids pick up on immediately. So just happy to have you here. And thanks for joining us, and go Trojans.
Go Trojans. Thank you.
A fire can spread through your home or business in less than 2 minutes. That's why it's important to think ahead and have the proper fire protection installed before it's needed. Brendel Sprinkler Company can inspect your current system and help make sure that you have the proper equipment when it's needed. Brendel works in new construction, existing homes, and renovations. They not only want to help extinguish fires, they want to save lives. Since 1960, with over 5,000 successful installations. Find them online at brendelsprinkler.com.
Confidence, experience, credibility. When your family is at stake, you need an attorney who's built a reputation on these 3 words. Katie Steenwinder. Whether it's divorce, custody, adoptions, or child support, Katie Steenwinder. Serving clients from Prattville and Wetumpka to Montgomery and Elba, Katie Steenwinder has developed her reputation with credibility, experience, and confidence. Call the law office of Katie Steenwinder in Montgomery, 262-2844. When your family is at stake, Katie Steenwinder. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
If you're looking for commercial real estate, Moore Company Realty is your go-to choice. The experienced team has a deep understanding of local markets and can help you find the perfect commercial property for sale or lease. They also offer comprehensive commercial property management services to ensure your investment is well taken care of. Their expertise and dedication to client satisfaction has allowed them to thrive for over 130 years. Find out more at moorecompanyrealty.com.
When most people think of landscaping, they picture a few shrubs and a patch of grass. But at Tanner Landscaping, we transform spaces into lush, vibrant paradises. Based in Pike Road, our family-owned business specializes in both residential and commercial landscaping and irrigation. Our talented team is dedicated to making your landscape dreams come true. Find us on Facebook at Tanner Landscaping, LLC. We are proud supporters of St. James football. Go Trojans.
When a sports injury has you sidelined, Baptist Ortho Now offers comprehensive orthopedic care with no appointment from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday, with board-certified specialists treating injuries and expert physical therapists administering everything from sports medicine to everyday recovery treatment. Baptist Ortho Now, getting you off the bench and back in the action. East Chase across from Target.
In challenging times, trust is everything. At the Bush Law Firm, they specialize in debtors and creditors' rights, offering expert legal restructuring for businesses facing bankruptcy. As one of only 2 firms in Montgomery County equipped to handle such cases, the focus is on guiding you through insolvency with precision and care. Restructuring for a brighter future starts here. The Bush Law Firm. Navigate your path to stability. Visit us online at bushlegalfirm.com.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Well, we're back here at Handley, although actually we're back in Montgomery. Sonny Brassfield with you, trying to provide you a little halftime update with scores around Region 3 of Class 4A. Of course, J.R. Brown and Wes Stewart bringing you the play-by-play. Trojans trail here at halftime, 28-0. Really, the game has turned in Handley's favor on 2 big turnovers for the Trojans, a fumble return for a turnover and a touchdown early in the second quarter, with the Trojans trailing only 7-0. In fact, the first touchdown for Handley came on a 4th down conversion on a 4th and 6. The Trojans selling out to try to stop the run, and Handley threw to a wide open receiver to make it 7-0. St. James held Handley on their next possession, forcing a punt, and then the Trojans quarterback Mason Craig couldn't hold on to a snap, and it was scooped up. It was 14-0 early in the second quarter, and then the Handley Tigers scored 2 more touchdowns before halftime, a second one coming on a fumble by the Trojans inside their own 20. St. James has committed 3 turnovers here in the first half, and that has been the key to this game, moving to a 28-0 score. Looking around Region 3 of Class 4A, last night things got going up in Cleveland County, where the Cleveland County Tigers down the Talladega Tigers 27-8. That moved Cleveland County's region record to 1-1, and Talladega at 0-2. The Talladega Tigers will be the opponents for St. James for homecoming next Friday night at Carlisle Field, and Sonny Brassfield and Brad Armagost will be back in the saddle on the radio broadcast next Friday night. Booker T. Washington and Tallahassee tonight, also in Region 3 of Class 4A play. The Tallahassee Tigers lead Booker T. Washington 14-0, and that's a Tallahassee team that has certainly bounced back and will have a chance to win this region, though they began the season with a 59-3 loss to Montgomery Academy. But Tallahassee now hoping to go to 2-0 on the season in region play. Booker T. Washington won last week against Munford, but trailed 14-0 early in the third quarter. And the other 2 teams in Region 3 of Class 4A, Bullitt County and Munford, the Bullitt County Hornets leading 21-7 just before halftime. So Bullitt County with a win, if they could hold on, would go to 2-0 in region play. Tallahassee would be 2-0. And unless the Trojans can come back, then Handley would be 2-0 as well. A couple of other scores of interest here in Montgomery. Trinity leading ACA in a 3A contest, 6-0 at halftime. And Montgomery Academy continuing to roll 14-3 against Wicksburg, also in Class 3A play. And just before halftime, Pike Road and Wetumpka tied 6-6. So this St. James football team looking for some tempo and something that they can hang their hats on offensively. Early in the game, they were able to run outside effectively, but then it's the Trojans' turn to try to run the ball inside with counters and traps, just unable to block the defensive tackles for Handley. And then on passing downs, on the place when Mason Craig was able to get rid of the ball very quickly, St. James had a little bit of success, but the straight drop back passes, St. James just unable to give their quarterback Mason Craig the opportunity to throw the football. St. James will kick the ball off to start the second half. Handley won the opening toss and deferred. And again, this is Region 3, Class 4A play. There'll be another region game next Friday night for all of the teams. And then 2 weeks from tonight, will be a non-region game for everyone in the state. St. James will take on crosstown rival Trinity next Friday night, but there's a half to play tonight. The St. James Trojans made their way to the visiting locker room in Handley, which is we might say in the country a fur piece from the stadium. It's 300 yards probably. The Trojans coming back and getting ready for the start of the second half, and J.R. Brown will have the play-by-play story for you. I think we'll take a 2-minute break, and when we come back, we'll be ready for the second half. Sonny Brassfield, happy to join you. Got back to Montgomery too late to make it to Handley, but we're watching and listening to this St. James football team that will continue to fight here in the second half. And you stay with us as J.R. Brown will bring you the story. We'll be back in 2 minutes. You're listening to St. James football on WRBZ.
Has an accident cramped your style? At Montgomery Paint and Body, we turn uh-oh into wow. Whether it's a tiny fender bender or total body repair, we'll have your ride looking stunning, maybe even better than before. When life throws a collision your way, count on us to smooth out the stress. We don't just fix cars. We treat every customer like family, because that's what the Turners are all about. From little fender benders to total body repair, visit Montgomery Paint and Body, East Shirley Lane on the East Boulevard, or call 27-REC. At Montgomery Paint and Body, your vehicle will be as good as new, maybe better.
Zaxby's is more than just a humble chicken joint. It's a humble chicken joint with the best sauces in the world. See, at Zaxby's, you don't just get their famous hand-breaded chicken fingers, fried to golden perfection with that flavor you know and love. At Zaxby's, you get the sauce. Dip, dunk, and drizzle with your choice of 12 different sauces like Zax sauce, Tum Torch, and hot honey mustard. So if you want a whole lot of sauce, you need to find yourself a Zaxby's. Who's got the sauce?
Zaxby's. Need a little good news in your life? Well, here's the deal. State Farm has new, lower car insurance rates in Alabama. So now you can get the great service and convenience of State Farm agent Breck Honey at an even better price. That's right. State Farm can help you save more cash and get the good neighbor service you deserve. It's the real deal for car insurance. State Farm agent Breck Honey is ready to help you save, Montgomery. Call my office today at 334-272-8423. That's 272-8423. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
If you or your family is a landowner, here is an important thing to know from On Point Habitat Management. The best way to improve the aesthetics and wildlife habitat quality of your property is with a prescribed fire burn. On Point's goal is to never send the landowner a bill, but to use funding available from the Department of Agriculture to accomplish the goals for your property. Consultations are free. Applications for the funding is free. Reach out to them at onpointhabitat@gmail.com.
We are back at right field in Roanoke, Alabama, in Randolph County, just a few miles west of the Georgia state line, home of the Handley Tigers. And the Handley Tigers have not been very good hosts to the St. James Trojans tonight. They hold a 28-0 lead as the 20-minute halftime has just officially ended, and now there'll be the 3-minute warm-up for both teams. It's a shame that the St. James band could not get some point credit, because I believe they actually won the battle. Fantastic performance by the St. James band. And the Handley fans were very respected and very appreciative of their efforts. Was a tough half for St. James, as we said in the first half. 3 turnovers directly led to 2 touchdowns. We'll review the scoring. St. James never made more than 1 first down on any of their drives and really couldn't get much generated. Well, I take that back. They did have the one drive where 2 penalties gave them 2 first downs, and they actually did get into Handley territory, but couldn't make anything develop of that. Only 1 touchdown in the first quarter for Handley. Corden Patterson, quarterback, threw a 25-yard touchdown pass to Elijah Stiegel, who was wide open on the near sideline. 7-0 as Dylan Hunn has made all 4 of his extra points. 3 touchdowns for the Tigers in the second quarter. A 3-yard fumble return. Gimme touchdown by Ridge Nelson, a 1-yard quarterback sneak by Corden Patterson, and a 1-yard short handoff off the left side to Ladarius Tucker. And that makes us get to the total of 28-0 and Handley will get the ball, you presume, to start the second half. St. James is out there warming up. We've got about 90 seconds left. And Handley is just on the field ready to go. And I have a feeling they're going to try to be as vanilla and try to run this clock out and try to stay healthy as possible. Good thing about St. James, they all seem to be healthy. I do want to mention St. James is unfortunately without Dawson Knowles in this game. It was confirmed by the doctor. He did have a torn labrum. He was held out of this game. Still undecided as to whether he will play for the homecoming game or not, but in order to get Dawson ready for baseball season, there may be a surgery necessary or a get well. So no doubt that the line has suffered due to his absence, but we wish Dawson well, talked to his parents prior to the game, and you know, we know that he's doing well. And we want the parents to be happy, and we want Dawson's health to be primary number one. And we know he'd love to be out there with the Trojans, and we'll see about next week. But get better, Dawson. We love you. Down to the last 20 seconds, and St. James is about to head toward the sidelines. They will kick off and will likely defend the northern end zone. I learned a trick a few years ago that one of the reasons that a lot of coaches actually accept the first half kickoff is so they can have the choice in the third quarter as which direction to go toward the play clock. Now, in a close game that might have a lot of influence, I seem to remember in the Tallahassee game last year, which actually ended up a 10-point game, it still was meaningful that Tallahassee was headed toward the clock in the fourth quarter. Handley is taking the field, and they will be headed toward the north end zone where the scoreboard is located in the third quarter. And St. James, for the first time, will kick off. That'll be number 9, Dylan Hines, his first time not punting the ball. And we've got a trio of Handley Tigers deep. Number 7, Jamarcus Daniel, is the deepest. Number 3, Travian Houston. And number 1, McCavian Allen. 2 more of the running backs are shielding him. Hines is taking the ball from the referee. St. James is lining up. Handley is ready, and we're about to start the third quarter of play. And we'll see if St. James needs to score. You know, St. James has a pretty good scoring streak going. They haven't been shut out in quite a while, and they need to get some points on the board to prevent that from happening. Hines ready to kick off. The Handley receivers are deep, and the kick is going to be high. It will be returned by Daniel. He takes the ball at the 9-yard line, goes straight up the middle, and has room and is on the far sideline, and he may go. Will Ford Bass be able to catch him? No. Touchdown, Handley. 93 yards, and you could pretty much see that coming. He ran the ball up the middle, got to about the 30-yard line, and too much of the St. James return team got together, found room on the sidelines. By the time he got to the 50, Ford Bass was the only one who could catch him. Didn't have the speed, didn't have the angle. And Jamarcus Daniel has a 93-yard kickoff return to start the second half for Handley. Hunt in once again to attempt the extra point. Got a better angle this time, but that one's right down the middle and headed toward the Roanoke Little League field, which is directly behind the north end zone and the scoreboard, and lit up nicely. Handley's up 35-0, only 14 seconds into the first half. We'll keep it here. And, well, St. James is going to get the ball quicker than they expected, but not for the right reason. 93-yard kickoff return. Remember, that's how Catholic started the game against St. James, with a long kickoff return. And now St. James will see what they do. 35 points might be a bit much to overcome, but we'll see if they can at least get some positive things going on offense and hopefully make some stops on standard defense. Handley coming out. Hines passes the ball, and he will kick off from the far sideline on the 40-yard line. We'll see maybe St. James can duplicate a kickoff return. Of course, we got Benton Alford on the near sideline and Michael Delbridge deep at about the 10-yard line. And here comes Hines' kick. He takes a short run, a shorter kick. The ball is fielded by Delbridge at the 16-yard line. He crosses the field, finds room, and is going to go up the middle, and he may go. He's into Handley territory, and a very fine return. It looked like he might have thought he made a mistake crossing the field, but good protection by St. James and a fine return. And St. James is actually going to start the ball in Handley territory. They're going to mark him down back at the 47-yard line. No, they're going to mark him back at the 49-yard line. Nevertheless, a good return, and St. James maybe has some life. First down and 10 in Handley territory. Craig will start the second half quarterback. We've got 5 wide receivers, an empty backfield. Ford Bass takes the handoff, and Craig takes the ball. It is fumbled. It's loose on the far sidelines. St. James did fall on it only because Handley did not see it. Looked like a bad handoff. The ball was just laying back in the backfield for 2 or 3 seconds. It was fallen upon by St. James to prevent a 4th turnover. And no wet conditions. Can't blame that, although it did appear that the field may have been watered down early this morning because it did have a squishy field walking across the turf, but certainly no reason to be causing this many turnovers. The ball is back into Trojan territory at the 47-yard line, a 4-yard loss, second down, 14. And a flag during the snap. We'll see what's called here. False start called against St. James, and beep going the wrong direction. So that'll push the ball back further into Trojan territory, back near the 41-yard line. Second down and 19. So bad first play, fantastic second play, and since then, near disaster strikes twice. St. James has 19 yards, possibly 3 plays to overcome. Craig in the backfield, second down, nearly 20 yards to go. He looks to pass deep. He's got time. It's a very high pass. The ball was intended for Alford. It was just a high fly ball that was incomplete. Number 14, Jay Robertson, had some coverage, but didn't look like Alford could see the ball. The ball would have been up near first down yardage, just a high throw and incomplete. So third down and just a little less than 20 yards to go. Still over 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. Handley now with a 35-0 lead over the Trojans. Grant Phillips now in quarterback. Craig in the backfield along with Bass. Phillips is going to take the snap, and he's going to try to throw the ball. He's going to run. He's going to have some room. He's going to get across the 40 into the 45-yard line, but that will pick up maybe 3 yards at the most, not nearly enough for the first down, and the punting unit once again comes in after a very promising start. A fumble and a penalty pushes St. James back and back into punting formation again. Got a new punt returner. DeMarcus Daniel is replacing Elijah Stiegel as the Handley legs just seem to interchange at will. Fourth down, 17 yards to go. Flag on the play, and it looks like St. James may have again had 12 men on the field. They did. Another 5-yard penalty. An illegal substitution called as Michael Delbridge made his way off the field. If he didn't, it would have been a 12 men on the field penalty. So fourth down and even more yardage, giving more room for Daniel to be away from the goal line, the punt. Hines back at his 25-yard line. Not much excitement on the St. James sidelines. Let's see if we can get another good punt, maybe a record breaker perhaps. Hines' kick is low, but it's going to have some distance. Daniel fields the ball at the 16-yard line. He's got room on the sideline and is going to just go out of bounds at the 32-yard line. He may have picked up another 5 or so yards with blockers in front, but just didn't want to take a hit and Handley will start with their first offensive possession of the game, and a very favorable spot. Went out of bounds at the 32, and they're going to mark him at the 35-yard line as if it matters too much at this point, but directly in front of us. It was a favorable spot indeed. First down and 10 for Handley. Still number 18, Patterson, in at quarterback as most of the starters remain in. A new face, number 9, Zay Dunson, on the line. Handoff goes to McCavian Allen, and he rips right through the middle for a 6-yard gain. Zukowski loses his helmet, so he's going to have to come off the field for a play. 6-yard gain, second down. Hines trying to inspire the St. James line. Handley now just opening holes up, and no need really for any kind of non-conservative play to be called. In fact, Handley is up in the shotgun. Handoff again, once again, to Allen. He's going to take the ball for the first down as he gets just to the 45-yard line of the Tigers and barely across. Yancey with a good stop, but the gain of 4 was exactly what was needed for a first down. Getting down to the 8-minute mark of the third quarter, and Handley certainly in no hurry, just very eager to run clock. They make a very late switch, although they did have the proper number on the field, although something isn't right as Patterson is looking to the side of the field. 10 seconds left on the shot clock, or the play clock. It's the second time I've done that this year. Hands the ball off to DJ Gray, and he prances forward for 4 yards. Zukowski got his helmet back on and got back on the tackle. 4-yard gain, ball still in Tiger territory. Second down and 6 yards to go. 35-0. Handley has been stopped several times and forced to punt, but for the most part, the Handley offense has just been mincing holes in St. James, but those turnovers, no doubt the story of this game. Patterson not nearly in as much of a hurry. He's going to take the ball. Handoff again to Gray. He's going to take the carry, and it's going to be about 4 yards forward up to the end of the Trojan side of the field at the 48-yard line. One of the Tigers was a little eager with the continued block, and he was quickly cautioned by the far sideline coaches to desist and risk a penalty. It'd be the quickest way, and in fact, they did take him off the field. We'll just say number 67. We won't give his name, but a little over eager there, probably his first play of the game. He's quickly taken off. Third down, 2.5 yards to go. Patterson, the ball goes to Tucker. He's got the first down and carrying tacklers forward, breaks a tackle. I don't know how he got through that, but nobody could tackle him, and finally tripped up at the last minute by Phillips all the way down at the 30, maybe down at the 29-yard line. That play should have gone for maybe 3 yards at best, and Tucker did not want to go down, and he carried tacklers another 10, 12 yards, and no doubt the St. James defense is getting tired, but you got to get in there when you have that many gang tacklers. Somebody grab up top, somebody grab the legs. First down and 10, just inside the 30-yard line, just under at the 6-minute yard. This may be the last play before the Heat timeout. Once again, Tucker has a ball and is carrying tacklers, jumping over tacklers. He's going to be down inside the 20, down to the 18-yard line. Another first down for Handley, and fortunately for St. James, they get a breather on a Heat timeout. Let us take a timeout as well. 30 seconds. Handley 35, St. James nothing. St. James football will continue on WRBZ.
If you want to see your money grow without a whole lot of fuss, well, you're sure to find some peace of mind at Riverbank and Trust.
Hi, this is Billy Wiggs with Riverbank and Trust. Winning game plan for your finances. Trust our home team of community bankers. From local banking expertise to newest innovations and technology, we have all the right strategies for your financial. Experience the home team advantage for yourself with Riverbank and Trust. Housing member FDIC.
We are back after the third quarter heat timeout. Again, Handley leads St. James 35-0, and they're driving for a potential 6 touchdown. 3 of those have been of the offensive variety, 1 passing, 2 rushing. It was a fumble return for a touchdown and a second half opening 93-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. So Handley has scored in all ways from all parts of the field. First down and 10, still Gordon Patterson, the starting quarterback, in from the 18-yard line for number 18. He hands the ball off to Allen, trying to find room on the outside. This time the Trojans pursue and take him out of bounds after a short gain. Grant Phillips is going to get credit for the tackle and maybe 1 yard gain there. Again, a very conservative play. They don't hand the ball off to Tucker up the middle. They tried Allen on the wide side, and St. James had better pursuit. So second down, 9 yards to go from the 17. Counting down under 5 minutes to go, and quite frankly, the clock can't move fast enough for the Trojans. Patterson takes the snap, gives the ball this time up the middle. It goes to Allen, and he's going to be stopped at the 15-yard line before being knocked back. That was number 51, Landon Wiggum, got credit for that stop. And we have an injury on the field. I don't see it. Actually, it looks like there's a Tiger limping off the field. That may be number 1, Allen. He has made it to the side of the field, but a pretty significant limp, and he did make it, and play will continue. Third down, and we'll call it 6.5 yards to go. At the 14-yard line, Handley once again in the red zone. Number 4, DJ Gray, a sophomore, has now taken Allen's place. Allen, a senior. Patterson with the ball, hands it off to his other up front receiver. Quite frankly, I didn't catch that number. We'll see when he gets up. Looks like number 4, Gray. Play failed to gain. Actually, they're going to make it to the 13-yard line. Well, maybe the 12. So much for failed to gain, and it looks like Handley is going to bring on the field goal unit. Number 17, Dylan Hunt, who has converted all 5 of extra points, is going to try a 29-yard field goal almost from the far hash. Handley running in players still have 10 seconds left on the play clock. And it will be officially a 29-yard field goal. Hunt has a high snap. And the kick is no good. It's going to be wide to the left. There is a flag on the play, however, and it may be a running into the kicker penalty. It is, and 5 yards might just be enough for a first down. St. James absolutely cannot catch a break. The penalty will be 5 yards, and that's all they need to get inside the 10-yard line. So the Handley drive continues. St. James looks like they had, good pursuit. All they had to do was touch the ball, and there would have been no penalty, but Handley continues their drive after a costly St. James penalty. First down and goal, we'll call it from the 7-yard line. Patterson with new running backs in the back, Gray, another sophomore, looking over to the sideline. Play clock just started, so inside of 3 minutes. Gray takes a handoff, and he's going to be taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Very nice play there. Zukowski, again, several times has managed to find a hole and has gotten 2 into the backfield. He's going to push the runner Gray all the way back to the 8-yard line. So it's going to be about 1.5 yard loss. Second down on the far sidelines, and 8 to go for a touchdown. 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go in a thankfully quick-moving third quarter. Handley trying to add to their 35-0 lead. They couldn't convert a field goal, but a running into the kicker penalty stopped it. Another handoff, and no, the ball is kept by Gray. He's trying to find room on the outside. goes back and forth, and it's finally going to be taken down back behind the 10-yard line. Dylan Hines had him trapped. Looked like you would call it a busted play, but Gray had room up on the right side, and for some reason decided to return, try to go around, and with little success, the ball's all the way back to the 14-yard line. So one of the few fine negative plays for the Trojans, a 6-yard loss. Hines ran him down from behind, and it'll be 3rd down and goal from near the 15-yard line. A pair of new juniors, Riley Johnson and Jay Braylon Andrews, are there. Ball handed off to Tucker, and he's going to get nowhere. Tries the right sideline. Hines again, Zukowski, Mason Craig also on the stop. Henry Wright was in the neighborhood, and looks like Handley is going to try the field goal, this time from the near sideline. It will be just a shred deeper. Ball's going to be set up at the 26-yard line. So this will actually be the 21-yard line. So it will be a 31-yard field goal. The kick is blocked, and it is picked up by Isaac Capilouto. And this time it didn't matter if they ran into the kicker or not. There was plenty of pressure, and St. James bought the ball. Capilouto ran it back outside the 30-yard line, and the 35 points for Handley will stay, and St. James will take over 1st down and 10 with under 40 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Finally, some good stuff for St. James. There was no doubt that kick was going to be blocked, and it was almost a chance for Capilouto to pick up the ball and get some yardage on the return. But because the pressure actually pushed the line so far back into the play, a tackle was made. Phillips at quarterback, 1st down and 10. St. James trying to get something on the board here. Ball handed off Kit, who actually passed forward. That was to Cameron Hartley. He's knocked out of bounds, although the clock is allowed to run. 14, Jay Robertson gets the stop. That will go as a pass completion, first completion of reception for Hartley in his career. 4 yards to go, and we'll see if another play is run prior to the end of the quarter. 10 seconds to go. It could be. Play picked up 4 yards up to the 35-yard line. 2nd down, 6 yards to go. And it looks like the clock will run out, and there will not be a play. We'll go to the 4th quarter of play. Handley 35, St. James nothing. A 60-second break. St. James football returns on WRBZ.
Great smiles start at Montgomery Dentistry on Woodner Boulevard. Doctors Anderson, Robertson, and Bittner have over 55 years combined dental experience and are proud to be an active part of the St. James community. Montgomery Dentistry accepts most major dental insurance plans, voted best dental practice for 8 years in a row. Ask them about financing options to allow you to get your dental care now and pay later. Located on Woodmer Boulevard. Follow them on Facebook and visit them in montgomerydentistry.com.
A Regions checking account can help you take your next step in life by giving you smarter, more convenient ways to manage your money. Open a Regions checking account today and bank safely and securely in a branch, online, on your phone, or with a phone call. You'll also love conveniences like text alerts, Regions mobile deposit, and our new bill pay system. Ready to move your life forward? To open a Regions checking account today, visit a branch or log on to regions.com/open now. Regions Bank. Message and data fees may apply to mobile services. Mobile deposit subject to fees.
We're headed to the 4th quarter of play, and for St. James to get back in the game, for only the 2nd time in school history, they'll have to score 5 touchdowns. Somewhat ironically, the only time St. James did score 5 touchdowns in a quarter was a few years against a game at Dadeville. And Dadeville was Handley's other home opponent this year and defeated them 30-0. Handley appears to have righted the ship. St. James takes the ball, and Phillips has room on the far sideline. He's into Handley territory with a 1st down inside, or almost into Handley territory. Was looking at the wrong H. Goes from the 35 up to the 47-yard line. Nice 12-yard gain as Handley is liberally substituting younger classmen on the defense, deservedly so. Phillips had a nice run, 12 yards, and St. James converts a second first down, 1st and 10 at the 47-yard line. St. James would love to get on the scoreboard and take that 0 off if nothing else. Phillips still at quarterback. Ball handed off this time to Luke Catchings, and they're ready for him. He's going to get to the 49-yard line, not quite to the 50. Number 72, Wesley Freeman, freshman, is in to make the tackle after a 1-yard gain. It's second down. A lot of clean uniforms. Of course, with the turf, there's not going to be much mud, even if it was watered down today. But a lot of clean uniforms, frankly, on both sides. And we're inside 10 minutes, 45 seconds to go. St. James second down, 9 yards to go. Phillips in at quarterback. Hartley, who had his first pass reception in the backfield. Here's the snap. Pass over the middle is tipped up and probably should have been intercepted. The ball was right to Andrew Yancey. Ball popped out of his hands, went straight up in the air, and fortunately for the Tigers, they were more concerned about tackling than seeing the ball, or one of them very likely could have pulled in the 4th turnover of the game. However, the pass falls very harmlessly incomplete, and it is now 3rd down, 9 yards to go. Michael Hassel brings in the play. Very straightforward base defense with only one safety deep for Handley. Alford is deep over here on the far sideline along with Catchings. Ball is passed and pass is incomplete. The ball was intended for Yancey, but number 3, Tavion Houston, saw that play was coming and blew it up before it even started, hitting Yancey before the ball even hitting Yancey before the ball even got to him. And so it would be 4th down and 9 yards to go. I don't see Hines out there. St. James really has nothing to lose, so they're just going to go ahead and go for it. 4th down and 9 yards to go. Of course, remember in the Catholic game several times we saw Phillips quick kick. We'll see if that happens again. Handley had sent a receiver downfield, and now they have too many men on the field. And instead of Handley getting charged a penalty for having an unable to get their man off the field, St. James has to call a timeout as the play clock was running down. So we'll keep it here. 10 minutes, 20 seconds to go. That's the first timeout either team has used in the 3rd quarter. I'm going to turn, you may have heard Sonny Brasfield at halftime. We're going to turn the radio back to him next week as we hit the halfway point of the season. St. James' second home game of the year, and it will be Homecoming 2025. I'll be back in front of the PA microphone, which hopefully has been fixed. I've been given good authority that it has. We'll see if that's the case. I know it has been, and we'll have a fantastic homecoming facility. Talladega, the Talladega Tigers will be a first-time visitor to Carlisle Field. They will be the homecoming opponent. St. James has a pretty strong homecoming string, having won 14 homecoming games in a row. The last homecoming game was a very heartbreaking 43-40 overtime loss to Headland back in 2010. So St. James has homecoming to look forward to next week. We are back. It is 4th down and about 9 yards to go. Craig has come in at the quarterback. He's got plenty of time to throw the ball. He's going to go deep for the end zone. The ball is going to be underthrown, and it is going to be intercepted. Probably would have been just as good to drop that ball, but that's number 9, Zay Dunson, who probably doesn't have a career interception yet. He takes the ball inside the 25-yard line, and instead of having good field position at midfield, Handley's going to have average field position back at the 23-yard line. 4th turnover of the night for St. James, but that was really just as good as a long punt. And it will be 1st down and 10 for Handley. Number 18, Patterson, is still in the game at quarterback, it appears. He does have a lot of fresh faces around him. Actually, that may be number 10. No, that is definitely number 18, Patterson. Hands the ball off on the far sideline to Gray. He's going to get out of bounds at the 38, maybe the 40-yard line. Gain's going to be good for 12 yards, and Handley has a first down, and the referees keep the clock running, thank goodness, even though he ran well out of bounds, trying to get this game going. There are no more running clocks in football. We've seen a lot of those in St. James games this past. I've called quite a few, but if Handley just continues to run the ball, the 9.5 minutes remaining will evaporate quickly. Patterson taking some time off the clock, still has 20 seconds off the clock before he runs a play. Ball handed off, and this time stopped in the backfield. Looks like number 19, Martez Thomas. Correction, that's number 29, another freshman, Elijah Bell. Saw the 9. He stopped for a yard gain. 75, Andrew Sellers in on the stop. Max Ward as well. Been a tough game for the St. James line. There's been a lot of chasing in the secondary, but line still getting there to make some tackles against some new meat on the offensive line for the Tigers. 2nd down and 9, down to 8:40 and counting. Patterson with the pitch deep. Ball held by Jalen Morgan. Back to Martez Thomas this time. He reverses field and is going to get back up to near the 40-yard line. Looked like the play that was run on near the goal line earlier by Handley. He probably ran about 25 yards on the play and gained a net of 1 yard total. Goes out of bounds. Darian Williams forced him out. Clock down to 8 minutes and counting. 3rd down, we'll call it 8 yards to go from the 35-yard line. And lots of new faces. Number 22, Micah Black, now in the backfield. But still Patterson calling the shots. 5 seconds left on the play clock. Let's see if he gets his play off. He does. Ball handed up the middle for virtually no gain. Just handed up to the up back, and he stopped immediately by Sellers. Brought down by Henry Wright as well. That was, again, Bell with the carry, and punt is coming up for Handley. Patterson will stay in the game and punt as well. Let's see if St. James might apply some pressure to the punt game. It worked very well on the failed field goal attempt, which was blocked. There's a punt. It's sideways. It will be fielded by Offord at the 24-yard line. Goes backward. Finds room. Great block on the sideline by Darian Williams. Allows him to pick up 10 yards. Tackled by Handley's number 2, Reed Giardina, at the 35-yard line. And directly in front of me, St. James will start a possession. 1st and 10, 7:02 to go in regulation time. Trailing by 5 touchdowns, 5 extra points. Number 16, Jordan Williams, enters the game for the first time. And it looks like number 3, Walker Wilsford, normally the junior varsity quarterback, is going to be in. So get him some playing time. Ball handed off, and he was grabbed by the face mask, the runner. Trying to see it goes down immediately, and the flag goes down immediately. That was Hartley, who was just taken down by the face mask. So that'll be a 15-yard walk-off. And the play lost less than 5 yards. It was down about a 2-yard loss. Will be a 15-yard mark-off from the spot of the foul. It's not an automatic first down, but the 12 yards will be good enough. And they're actually going to mark that one off from the spot of the foul. So we'll go to midfield, and St. James has another first down. I would estimate St. James may have 10 first downs in this game. Probably 4 to 5 of them are via penalty. Wilsford hands the ball off, and number 11, Connor Adams, took the ball, and he was forced backwards. Number 43, I don't have on my roster, but they say Will McDonough makes the stop. 5 yards back into the end zone, giving the younger players a chance to play. 2nd down and 15 yards to go. So probably be the final play before the heat timeout. Hartley in the backfield. Williams and Hassel. The ball is kept by Wilsford. He's got some room on the sidelines. He's going to dive forward, get back to the original line of scrimmage, maybe the 49, 50-yard line. 2-yard gain, number 23, Will McDonald, in on that stop. Number assisted by 59, Noah Greer. And it will be third down. The clock continues to run. 5:45 and counting. Third down and 11 yards to go for the Trojans, just short of midfield. Wilsford takes the snap, the handoff, and it's going nowhere. Actually, a good push late by Adams, who was forced all the way back to the 45-yard line, did push back to get back to the 48 and was given forward credit, at least to the 47-yard line, but it will be fourth down and about 13 yards to go. We're down to the 5-minute mark and still counting, so if there is a heat timeout, it'll probably be in this play. No point in trying to rule out what momentum St. James has. Fourth down, of course, St. James going for it. Wilsford takes the ball. He's going to fling, and the pass intended for Williams is a little wide and incomplete. And so the ball will turn over on downs to Handley, and indeed we have our heat timeout is what I'm trying to say in the final quarter, 4:48 to go. Let's take one more 60-second break. Handley 35, St. James nothing. St. James football on WRBZ.
Hi, I'm Shelly Nichols. If you see home ownership in your future, the future is now. Helping people get mortgages is what I do at Cross Country Mortgage. I'll help you find the home financing option that's right for you. Go to my website at ccm.com/Shelly Nichols and follow me on social media. Contact me today at Cross Country Mortgage about a home loan. Equal housing opportunity, subject to credit approval, NMLS 430123, company NMLS 3029, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This is Judge J.C. Love in the Montgomery County Probate Court, wishing the St. James Trojans football team a winning and successful football season. Go Trojans. And while we're cheering for victory on the field, we're also protecting victories at home. Don't let property title fraud take away what you've worked so hard to build. Sign up today for the Probate Court's REACT program, the Real Estate Activity Alert and Contact Tool. It's free, it's fast, and it helps safeguard your property. Protect your property, protect your future. Learn more at www.reactnow.com. That's www.reaactnow.com. Go Trojans.
They are back just in time for Handley to run their first play of the drive. Number 19 is now taken over at quarterback. Martez Thomas pitches the ball to fellow freshman Elijah Bell, who gets a little bit into Trojan territory. Simple pitch is going to be good for 5 yards down to the 42-yard line, and it will be second down. Some of the backups for the St. James defense in the game. See number 18, Brandon Stewart, on the near sideline. Of course, Zukowski still in his place. 72, John Ashton Dollar is in the game after his band performance at halftime. Ball up the middle, and that time St. James broke through the line and took down Bell behind the line of scrimmage. Zukowski sure hadn't given up. Mason Craig in on the stop, and Sellers as well will push the ball back to the original line of scrimmage, the 45-yard line. It will be third down and long. We are inside 4 minutes. Again, it would say it'd be real nice for St. James. It's been several years since they've been shut out. It would be nice if they got at least a chance to score. Third down, 9 yards to go. Martez Thomas under center takes a snap, pitches it back. Ball goes to, actually it's Martez Thomas who takes the pitch, and he's going to go 55 yards for a touchdown. So you can say it looked like they had two 19s on the field, but apparently it was 29, Elijah Bell, who went under the center and pitched the ball to number 19, Martez Thomas, who'd been the quarterback for the previous two plays. And he goes 55 yards, and Handley has cracked the 40-burger. Hunt in to attempt his extra point. It's right down the middle. Good. 42-0 Handley. 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go. That gives us another chance to recognize another sponsor. 60-second break. You're listening to St. James Football on WRBZ.
Discover your stunning new look at Doug's 2 Salon. Find your breathtaking new hairstyle or color with our expert stylists and salon artists, and look absolutely radiant with our extensions, balayage, and keratin treatments. You'll find products from Aveda and Bumble & Bumble, so even when you leave the salon, you keep looking sensational. Call to make your appointment and look and feel amazing today.
I'm Cliff Meidel, two-time Olympic athlete in the sport of sprint kayaking. In 1986, my life changed forever when I struck 3 buried high-voltage cables while working on an excavation site. 30,000 volts of electricity blew through my body. I'm lucky to be alive and able to walk again. Accidents like mine can be avoided with a simple call to 811.
Accidents can happen to anyone. Know what's below. Always call 811 before digging. Brought to you by Alabama 811.
We are back, and now I can safely say Handley has their second win and their second region win of the series locked up. 3:15 remaining, and Dylan Hunt's kickoff almost hit the concession stand. That was a serious shank. That ball may not have even gotten to the 35-yard line before it went out of bounds, so St. James will take the ball. In fact, they say it went out at the 33, so St. James will take the ball at the 35. First down and 10, and no time went off the clock. So 3:15 to go, and Wilsford takes the Trojans back in. Seems to be a bit of confusion. I don't know if they got 12 men on the field again. We'll see if the play clock has not started. So we've got 5. We got 12 men on the field, and one's going to go off, and the referees are at the center of the field. Oh, the ball had not even put into play. Well, actually, for some reason, a penalty was called against Handley. A penalty was called against Handley. They called it illegal procedure, although that's not really an official penalty call for a defense. Nevertheless, St. James decided to go ahead and take a timeout. In fact, now I'm looking, they actually have first down and 10 at the 40-yard line, which is apparently the ball went out of bounds. I knew it had gone out of bounds before the 35-yard line, so maybe that's where they spotted the ball, which if the ball goes out prior to the 35-yard line, which most often happens on an onside kick, that's where the ball should be spotted. So St. James did take their second timeout while all the confusion was going on. It shouldn't matter much. St. James shouldn't need to preserve too much time, but it is first down and 10 from the Trojan 40-yard line. Ball handed off. Hartley takes the ball, and he's going to carry tackler number 35, Eli Adamson, forward for a 4-yard gain. Good run. That'll be 3-yard gain, we'll call it. Second down, and Davis Gross enters the game for his first action. 23, Delbridge, who's been on special teams, is actually wide right. Second down, 7 yards to go. There's a pitch, and that's actually Ford. It's going to go. Now we're just going to take the ball back to the 40-yard line. It was a pass forward, but took a little while to get set up, and play actually lost a pair of yards despite it being a forward pass. So it's third down and 9. We're down to 2:20 to go in this football game. 42-0 Handley. Third down and 9, and like I said, these are probably junior varsity teams facing off against each other. Looked in Handley's program, and they actually have a 29-player roster. Ball handed off to Hartley. He finds some room and is going to get back up big hard hit in the middle of the line near the 44-yard line. Number 53, Coy Johnson. Number 48, Tavarius Parker. More new names for Handley getting their first hits of the game. And play picks up 2 yards, so it will be 4th down and 7. And, of course, St. James has nothing to lose. They'll go for it. Gross brings the play in. We're down to a minute and a half, about a half a minute left on the play clock, so we'll see if St. James eats up time. Maybe they can convert a first down and have at least one more offensive series. 10 seconds on the play clock. Wilsford is going to throw a pass. Pass is caught, but tackled immediately. And they don't call it an incomplete pass. They actually call it a completed pass for a loss. Ball will be back to the 40-yard line. So we had 40-43, 40-43, and back to the 40. So the play loses 3 yards, and Handley will take over on downs with 57 seconds to go, and 2 plays should be enough to exhaust the clock if hopefully Handley chooses to. Thomas, who just scored on the 55-yard touchdown, looks like he will be in at quarterback. Number 9, Zay Dunson, who had a few running plays earlier, will be in, and not in fact, number 9, Dunson, who was probably the quarterback on the handoff to Thomas, who's going to take the snap, 1st down and 10. Thomas takes the ball, and he may have room on the sidelines, but he breaks a tackle, but fortunately the tackle was big enough to have Trojans catch up to him, and Thomas only got as far as the 32-yard line. Still a significant gain down to the 32-yard line, an 8-yard gain, and 34 seconds left on the play clock, 31 seconds left on the 25-second clock, the 40-second clock. I'm not going to call it the shot clock anymore. And I have a feeling the referees will let it go if they choose not to run a play. And Handley seems not to be running a play, and both teams are headed to the 50-yard line to line up to congratulate each other. So it looks like St. James will suffer its first shutout in many a game. The clock is going to run out, and Handley is going to improve to 2-0 in the region with a 42-0 victory over the St. James Trojans. That's your final score. We'll come back in 2 minutes to wrap up the game. Again, your final score, Handley 42, St. James nothing to right field. A final 2-minute break, St. James football on WRBZ.
If you want to see your money grow without a whole lot of fuss, well, you're sure to find some peace of mind at Riverbank and Trust.
Hi, this is Billy Wiggum with Riverbank and Trust. When you need a winning game plan for your finances, trust our home team of community bankers. From local banking expertise to newest innovations and technology, we have all the right strategies for your financial success. Experience the home team advantage for yourself at Riverbank and Trust, equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Hello, I'm Sheriff Derek Cunningham of the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. We're a proud supporter of St. James football. Being a member of this community and knowing that these students are part of our community, we at the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office would like to let you know that we support you this football season, and we're here for you this football season.
If joint pain or athletic injury has you out of a game, call the Houston Clinic team at 334-245-6605. Doctors Lee Murphy and Derek Wessner are seasoned healthcare providers working to provide high-quality sports medicine care to the athletes of the River region. Dr. Murphy is an orthopedic surgeon. His clinical focus is on shoulder, elbow, and knee disorders. Dr. Wessner is a veteran and primary care sports medicine physician specializing in the primary care treatment of all musculoskeletal conditions. Visit Doctors Murphy and Wessner at Houston Clinic on Taylor Road in Montgomery.
Go, go, go. That's life. And at CB&S Bank, we help you keep up. We're redesigning financial freedom with the most sophisticated digital products. Check balances, pay bills, transfer funds, manage your card, and even deposit checks from wherever you are. Make purchases using your CB&S Bank debit card through your mobile device with Mobile Wallet in participating stores and restaurants. Learn more at cbsbank.com. Charges and fees may apply from your cellular service provider. Contact your service provider for information. Member FDIC.
We are back here at right field. The St. James Band is playing their traditional post-game alma mater for the cheerleaders and players and coaches on the field, and Handley is not helping by playing ludicrous over the band. That's kind of not good form, as Captain Hook would say, but it's going to be plays. They had a blocked field goal, which was good, had several good kick returns, and now finally the music is quieted over in the far sidelines. But the St. James turnovers, I had 4 of them in the game. 3 of them led directly to touchdowns, but the Handley offense just entirely too much for St. James. They scored on passing touchdowns, scored on rushing touchdowns, a fumble return, and a kickoff return. But most notably, the 4 turnovers will be the highlight or the low light of this game. And St. James will have a lot to work on, but at least finally they're getting a pair of home games. And quite frankly, at least next week, there's a team that looks like they may have a chance to really compete against. The Talladega Tigers, the second consecutive Tiger team, has had a bit of a tough stretch. They are playing tonight in region. I believe they are playing Claiborne County. And, of course, we can check and see what their results are later. Coach Ware is meeting on the field now, and you can only imagine what he's having to say. Was a good chance for some of the younger players to play because, quite frankly, we're going to be depending upon them for the next 2 to 3 years. No point in going over all the scoring. Like I said, 1 touchdown pass, 3 touchdown runs, a kickoff return to start the second half, which really blocked out any possible St. James comeback, and a short fumble return for a touchdown. All 7 extra points were good. Correction, yeah, that's right. All 7 extra points on the turnovers were good by Dylan Hunt. And for the first time in many a game, St. James has a 0 on the board. We mentioned it, and St. James will be celebrating Homecoming 2025 next week as Talladega makes its first ever appearance at Carlisle Field. Game time will be at 7 p.m. Of course, you can listen to it here on WRBZ if you're not going to be able to make it to the game. If you do make it to the game, you can also listen to it on WRBZ or watch on the Facebook page. Sonny Brassfield will be back and hopefully will be in winning form as we try to get St. James their first win off to an 0-4 start, 0-2 in the region. That is going to wrap it up from right field. It's going to be about 30 minutes before the bus gets cranked up, and then probably another hour and 45 minutes from Roanoke to get back to Montgomery, so parents plan accordingly. We thank everybody for joining us. Big thanks to Wes Stewart, who was my technical genius. Again, couldn't do it without him. We thank the many fans, it was quite more than I expected, who made the drive over here to Roanoke to support the Trojans. We hope to see all of you and 10 more of you per person next week as we celebrate homecoming against the Talladega Tigers. Once again, the final score here in Roanoke, Handley 42, St. James nothing. For me, J.R. Brown, and again, Wes Stewart and the entire St. James crew, we thank Little Engine Broadcasting for their continued support and certainly all of our sponsors. We couldn't do it without you. We thank everybody for joining us, and St. James football will be back on the air next week. If you're here in Roanoke, drive home safely, and good night, everybody.
Thank you for joining us for Trojan Football. This is Head of School Dr. Larry McLemore. As a proud alumnus and a parent of 2